you, our audience. The teams are out. It's a big game in the title race this afternoon. They're all big games from here on in, of course. 12 games to go for Arsenal, and after Manchester City's win at Crystal Palace last night, their lead has been reduced to 2 points. I'll give you the team lineups in just a second. Some other live sport to get to first. A couple of 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League at Old Trafford. Manchester United are at home against Southampton, so Lee Blakeman can bring us the team news from that one.
Hello, Ellie. First, just to echo every single word you just said, with the team news, 2 changes for Manchester United from the side that started their last 2 matches. Sancho and Wan-Bissaka come in to replace Darlow and Fred, who both dropped to the bench. Southampton, who've won 2 of their last 3 in the Premier League, make 1 change from the side that started the win over Leicester. Maitland-Niles isn't in the squad, so Perraud starts instead.
Also kicking off at 2 o'clock in the Premier League this afternoon, not too far from here at the London Stadium, West Ham at home against Aston Villa. Henry Moran is there.
Good afternoon, Ali, and thank you. Sentiments echoed by so many of us. West Ham in the relegation zone. 5 changes from Thursday's Europa Conference win in Cyprus. Antonio dropping to the bench, Ings up front, also back in the side, Emerson, Paqueta, Souček and Bowen. Villa have been excellent away from home under Unai Emery. Make the 1 change, Leon Bailey replacing the injured Boubacar Kamara.
Already been 1 game in the Championship today. It's just finished. Sunderland 1-0 winners away to Norwich. Scottish FA Cup quarter-final kicked off at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Half-time at Ibrox. Rangers against Wraith. Roddy Forsyth.
Thank you, Alistair. I also echo your sentiments entirely. The business at hand for Rangers is to defend the Scottish Cup, but they almost got off to a shocker when Ismail Goncalves of Wraith spotted McGregor off his line and tried to lob him from 60 yards with the ball dropping only a yard wide after 2 minutes. That aside, it's been relentless Rangers pressure, and the breakthrough came just before the interval when Goldson bullet-headed a Barisic corner past McDonald for the goal that divides these sides at half-time.
WSL action this afternoon as well. The top 2 playing each other. Kicked off at 12:30. Chelsea's women against Manchester United's women. Flo Pollock.
Afternoon, Ali. 70 minutes played, and it is Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. Chelsea took the lead on 22 minutes through Sam Kerr, and it was a superb goal. A simple, straight, long ball. Kerr got in between and ahead of the centre-backs, chested it down and lobbed it over the stranded Mary Earps. Chelsea in control here, and they lead Manchester United by a goal to 0.
Thank you, Flo. So we'll keep you updated on all of that. Big game in the Six Nations this afternoon. Kicks off at 3 o'clock. Commentary on Radio 5 Sports Extra of Scotland against Ireland. The whistle blows here. David Coote is our referee. Arsenal in change kit this afternoon in the black shirts, black shorts and black socks get us underway. And Fulham in their white shirts, black shorts and white socks defending the goal away to my right in front of the Hammersmith end. Big news for Arsenal actually comes on the bench. Gabriel Jesus appears in the matchday squad for the first time since he picked up an injury at the World Cup. I think if you were an Arsenal fan, you'd probably say this is Mikel Arteta's strongest lineup. Late challenge comes in on Gabriel from Andreas Pereira. Gabriel doesn't like it. Pereira apologises from a distance. I think that's probably wise. 5 changes from the 2-2 draw away to Sporting in midweek for Arsenal. Ramsdale returns in goal. Gabriel's just been caught by Pereira. Thomas Partey back into the midfield. Martin Ødegaard has recovered from his illness, so he starts. And Leandro Trossard went off early last week against Bournemouth with a groin issue, but he is fit to start up front. As I said, Gabriel Jesus on the bench. Eddie Nketiah still out with an ankle problem. Probably won't see him again for Arsenal until after the international break. The big miss for Fulham this afternoon, João Palhinha serving the second game of a 2-game suspension. Tosin has come in at centre-back after the defeat at Brentford on Monday night. He replaces Issa Diop, and Bobby De Cordova-Reid in for the former Chelsea and Arsenal man, Willian. A blow to lose him, not involved at all for Fulham this afternoon. So a minute and a half in, underway at Old Trafford, underway at the London Stadium, and this is Fulham 0, Arsenal 0, and Gabriel is now on the ball for Arsenal, and with his left foot he fires one forward, and that's very easily covered by Tosin, and the ball runs out for a throw into Fulham in their right back position. Bernd Leno, former Arsenal man, in goal for Fulham, all in blue away to my right. Back 4 of Kenny Tete, Tosin, the American international Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, fellow American at left back, Sasa Lukic in João Palhinha's place. 5th appearance for Fulham for him, having joined the club in January alongside Harrison Reed in the engine room. Bobby De Cordova-Reid wide right in place of Willian. Andreas Pereira in the number 10 role. Manor Solomon, having scored 5 goals in his last 5 appearances for Fulham, on the left. and Alexander Mitrovic up front. Bukayo Saka's done well to win a ball for Arsenal. Early cross in. Martinelli has a swing, misses it on the right foot volley. And there's an infringement in the penalty area there. Martinelli may have been offside, so Fulham will get a free kick and a chance to clear their line. So the Arsenal team lineup: Ramsdale in goal, back four of Ben White, William Saliba, Gabriel and Alexander Zinchenko. Partey and Xhaka in front of them, Saka, Ødegaard and Martinelli, and Leandro Trossard playing as the centre forward. Tim Ream plays to his left, Anthony Robinson down the line to Solomon. Solomon lays it off to Mitrovic. Mitrovic having a right old wrestle with William Saliba, and the first round goes to Alexander Mitrovic. Saliba grappling and holding, and our referee decided that was a foul from the Arsenal centre-back. So that will be a free kick for Fulham. They, of course, start the day in 8th. They're only 3 points behind Liverpool after their surprise defeat at Bournemouth yesterday. 9 points behind Tottenham in 4th, and an FA Cup quarter-final to come as well, away at Old Trafford next Sunday. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. 3.5 minutes in. Fulham trying to get away down the right. Bobby De Cordova-Reid can't keep the ball in play. Throw in for Arsenal in the left-back position. Mikel Arteta in familiar outfit, big black padded coat, tight-fitting grey trousers, smart black shoes. Throw in for Arsenal, which Zinchenko gets ready to take, stealing a couple of yards up the left-hand touchline. The referee's waving him back. Let's check in on the early stages at Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. United enjoying a lot of possession early on, particularly wide left with Luke Shaw. Anthony getting involved as well. Bazunu has got away with a scruffy clearance as Southampton move into the United area. United will bring it clear. 4 played. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
Ben White controls a ball on his right thigh just in front of us. Anthony Robinson heads his clearance forward. Saliba is there, side foots a pass with pace to Gabriel. Pereira continues to chase. Xhaka drops deep to help out, plays back to Aaron Ramsdale, and the Arsenal keeper has the ball at his feet. West Ham against Aston Villa. Henry Moran.
Early stages still goalless. A few empty seats around the London Stadium, perhaps reflective of West Ham's struggles this season. 14 defeats, as many as last campaign. It's been a slow start, quiet, as this game looks to find its rhythm. West Ham desperate for a victory that would ease their relegation concerns. Just coming up to 4 minutes, goalless.
Yes, West Ham starting the day 23 points, just a point behind Bournemouth and Leicester, a couple behind Everton, a point further behind Nottingham Forest. Anthony Robinson's lost it inside his own half. Granit Xhaka plays to Trossard. Trossard comes dancing forward, half stopped. He still managed to hold on to the ball. Xhaka then pings one into the feet of Ødegaard. Play back to Partey. Partey opens it up and quickly gets it out to the right to Saka. Saka against Anthony Robinson. Saka decides not to take him on, plays back to White. Now to Partey in central midfield, and every Arsenal player inside the Fulham half as they work the ball from right to left. Martinelli's floated ball. Trossard will chase. It's beyond him, and then Trossard gives Tim Ream a healthy shove in the back. He knows he can't get the ball. It comes through to the goalkeeper, Bernd Leno. And in terms of Manchester United against Southampton, Southampton, of course, starting the day bottom of the table. Manchester United starting the day 49 points. Manchester City 61 points in second. And Arsenal on top on 63. Nice feet from Manor Solomon, gets him out of trouble. Toss in brings the ball forward with his long leggy stride up to the halfway line. Ream with his left foot, diagonal ball floated out towards the right. Martinelli's back to head it away, and Xhaka with a second header nods it back to his goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale. Ramsdale wants to get on with things. He's all in light green, short sleeve goalkeeping shirt, packed away end, the Putney end behind him, as Arsenal play out with Saliba. Saliba across to Gabriel. Gabriel out wide to Xhaka. Xhaka didn't like the challenge too much from De Cordova-Reid. I think he just had the heel trodden on there as he played the ball back to Saliba. Here's Gabriel. Zinchenko pops up in central midfield. Xhaka's still wide left, and back it comes again to William Saliba. 7 minutes in, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. Ben White also gets a little nudge in the back from Manor Solomon. Solomon says to the referee, I didn't do too much there, but Ben White went down, and Arsenal get themselves the free kick. Latest in the WSL, Chelsea against Manchester United. Flo Pollock.
Chelsea still leading Manchester United 1-0. United desperate to get back into this, but they've struggled to create chances, really. Only a couple of half chances for Alessia Russo We've got about 12 minutes left, Ali, and it's still Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0.
Bukayo Saka's gone down on another free kick for Arsenal, attacking position. He's gone down and stayed down for a second, which will be a concern for Arsenal. 2 more games underway at 2 o'clock in the WSL. Brighton against Manchester City and Liverpool against Tottenham. Arsenal will know they are in for a test this afternoon. Fulham having a fantastic season. 13 games played here in the Premier League. Won 6, drawn 4, lost 3. The only teams to come away with all the spoils so far from Craven Cottage this season. Newcastle, who won by 4 goals to 1. Manchester United needed a late winner from Alejandro Garnacho. And Harry Kane scored Tottenham's winner here. And those are the only 3 games Fulham have lost in the Premier League at Craven Cottage. Ødegaard takes the free kick, plays it across to Zinchenko. He slides a pass across to Martinelli. 35 yards out, curling ball into the far post. Gabriel and Xhaka left it for each other, and the Fulham fans enjoyed that. No one attacks it, and the ball drifts behind harmlessly for a goal kick to Fulham. Rangers against Wraith is a Scottish Cup quarter-final being watched by Roddy Forsyth.
5 minutes into the second half, it's still Rangers 1, Wraith 0, with that Connor Goldson goal from a corner kick dividing the sides. But at the moment the pattern is the same as the first half, with Wraith rolled back like a rug on the edge of their penalty area and almost unable to get possession. 1-0 Rangers at the moment.
Tim Ream on the ball for Fulham as they try to play out from inside their own half. Got some lovely sunshine splashed across Craven Cottage on this March afternoon at the moment. Partey side foots one to Xhaka. Passing breaks down for Arsenal. Solomon, surrounded by black Arsenal shirts, managed to dribble away from them and then promptly played the ball to Saliba. Arsenal have it back, and here is Saliba just inside his own half. Pereira comes towards him. Saliba sees him coming and plays back to Gabriel. So in terms of your commentaries on Radio 5 Sports Extra this afternoon, just before 3 o'clock, our coverage of Scotland-Ireland will get underway in the Six Nations. Ireland still on for the Grand Slam, having won 3 out of 3. Scotland having won a couple of their games against England and Wales. That should be a good one. WSL action tonight. Kick-off 6:45, but our coverage starts at 6:30. That'll be Arsenal against Reading. And then the final round of golf's Players' Championship tonight. Full commentary on that should be a cracker. Coverage starts at 8:45. Scotty Scheffler, the American Masters champion, 2 shots ahead of the Australian Minwoo Lee. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. 10 minutes gone at Craven Cottage, and Gabriel's gone for a long ball down the left, and Martinelli's making it very awkward for Tosin. Tosin thought he'd lost him, but does well to win it back for Fulham. Clears to the halfway line. Gabriel chests it down. Here's Zinchenko in his white boots, and Zinchenko plays across the Arsenal half to Ben White, who scored that all-important first Premier League goal for him and for Arsenal in the comeback win against Bournemouth last weekend. Incredibly dramatic afternoon for Arsenal, that one. Let's see what they've got in store for us this afternoon. Trossard up towards Martinelli, played back into midfield. Arsenal knocking it around nicely. And then Saliba just lays it off to Partey, who's dropped deeper in between his 2 centre-backs, takes control of things, across to Saliba, strokes his pass wide to Saka. It bounces twice. Robinson is quick, powerful runner, gets there. Not the best clearance, but it just squeaks past Ødegaard. Pereira has to rush in for Fulham. Clears with his right foot, was looking for a ball out towards Bobby Decordova-Reid, but he'd sort of tucked in a bit, so it went beyond him. And out for a throw into Arsenal. Mikel Arteta lobs it to Zinchenko. Zinchenko slings the ball back into play. And William Saliba again. Seen a lot of the ball. The Arsenal centre-back in the early stages. Trossard onto Ødegaard, wide to Saka. Saka against Robinson again. This time Saka moves inside. Lay off to Ødegaard, edge of the penalty area. Little ball to Trossard, 1 touch. Strokes the pass out to his left-hand side. Martinelli down to the byline. Xhaka stretches, fires the cross in on the slide. And Bernd Leno in the right place there for Fulham. He's able to grab it with both hands at the near post. Manchester United against Southampton also kicked off at 2 o'clock. Lee Blakeman.
Still 0-0. Best chance of the game has gone United's way. Wan-Bissaka played into the area right side. Might have fancied a shot, went for the cross instead, and it deflected straight into the hands of Gavin Bazunu. Down the other end, Walker-Peters has just gone close. Shot from the edge of the box, straight at De Gea. 0-0.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. 12 minutes gone in the first half. Mitrovic chests the ball down, holds Saliba off. That's going to be a good battle this afternoon. And Mitrovic moves it across to the right for Kene Tete. Wants support here from Decordova-Reid. He comes whizzing in from that right-hand touchline, just inside the Arsenal half. Fulham very capable of scoring goals. Arsenal well aware of that. Ream plays back here to Sasa Lukic. Now Harrison Reed, little ginger-haired midfielder. Deckled over Reed, tried to leave it for Reed. Reed ran into Gabriel, took a tumble, no foul. Ødegaard onto the ball for Arsenal. Measured pass back to White. Ramsdale makes himself available, but Saliba instead plays across to Gabriel. No goals so far in the 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League. Cricket result as well for you today, if you hadn't heard. England's cricketers losing the second T20 international against Bangladesh. England made 117 from their 20 overs, and Bangladesh knocked it off with just over an over to spare, 120 for 6. So in the 3-match series, they've already won it because they lead 2-0, having won the first T20 international as well. Free kick for Fulham. 13 minutes gone in the first half. 3 wins against Arsenal in 31 Premier League games. All of those have come at Craven Cottage. The last one, actually, January 2012. So over a decade ago, Mikel Arteta playing in the Arsenal side that night. Late goals from Steve Sidwell and Bobby Zamora probably takes you back a little bit. Free kick for Fulham. Andreas Pereira, well headed away by Zinchenko. Reed with a header forward. Now here's Mitrovic, chests it down and he's trying to turn. Scoops a little pass out to his right. Ødegaard heads it away. Trossard trying to play head tennis. It works. Little 1-2 with Martinelli. Martinelli racing into the Fulham half. Stopped in his tracks, and Fulham try and turn it into a counter-attack of their own. Andreas Pereira on the ball, wide on the right-hand side, goes for the longer ball to Mitrovic, chests it down at the far post and then lobs it over the bar, but the referee wasn't going to allow that, possibly for a handball, as Mitrovic chested it down, because I didn't see the offside flag go up. But that was promising from Fulham. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. What about West Ham Villa? Henry Moran.
Still goalless. Big chance though for West Ham. Excellent work on the right hand side from Gerard Bowen. Cross to the back post, arriving with Saad Benrahma. His side foot volley over the bar and into the crowd. It remains goalless here. West Ham 0, Aston Villa 0.
Sunderland 1-0 winners away to Norwich in the Championship in the early kick-off today. Aaron Ramsdale's giving it a mighty clearance downfield. Tim Ream wins the header. Reed jumps, heads it forward. Mitrovic on the ball just inside his own half. He's got Solomon, the Israeli, to his left. Solomon controls, plays back to Ream. Cross it comes to Tosin. A couple of pigeons have flown into the stadium to have a look what's going on inside the Fulham half, but the ball at the moment's in the Arsenal half, and Tete's chasing it. Martinelli's there, and then Martinelli tackled by Tete, and the ball goes behind for a goal kick, although Fulham felt that Martinelli passed it straight out for a corner. Closing stages in the WSL. Chelsea with a win would go above Manchester United at the top of the table. Flo Pollock.
Still Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. Ball just put into the box, looking for Alessia Russo. Went over her though. 4 minutes left, and yeah, as you said, Ali, as it stands, Chelsea going back top of the league. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. 4 minutes remaining. 15
minutes played in the first half here. Arsenal 0, Fulham 0. I know our next stop is going to be Roddy Forsyth when we get the next break in play. If Roddy's listening, Mick Jagger's in the house at Craven Cottage. I haven't seen him yet today, but apparently he's here, and I know Roddy's the kind of man who's going to know the songs and know the right pun to go for. Here's Martinelli into the penalty area, drives it with his right foot. Oh, it's an own goal. Bernd Leno saved the shot. It bounced back into Anthony Robinson, and the ball's ended up in the back of the net, and Arsenal have the lead 16 minutes in. Martinelli got in on the left-hand side, drove the shot powerfully. Leno was there to block, and there was the bit of luck for Arsenal, the kind of luck you need if you're going to win a Premier League title. It came flying off the former Arsenal keeper into Anthony Robinson, and that is why Arsenal, we think, lead by a goal to 0, but VAR will have to have a look because Martinelli was played in on the left. There's a potential offside that is going to need checking. It's the 1-2 with Granit Xhaka. Martinelli's making the run in behind Kenny Tete. The angle's tight for him. Leno palmed it away with his left hand. Robinson did what he had to do. Just to the naked eye, before the lines get drawn, you feel that's going to be close, but now the camera zooms in on Anthony Robinson himself, who was wide on the left for Fulham as Martinelli was coming in from the other side, and we're wondering whether a part of Anthony Robinson's body is going to play Martinelli onside, which means that Anthony Robinson will be credited with that own goal. And it means, as it stands, if Arsenal get the lead, they will move 5 points clear of Manchester City in this title race. So, cameras zooming in, Gabriel Martinelli puffing and panting, like all the Arsenal players, waiting, staring at the big screen, up above that Hammersmith end away to our right. Checking goal, possible offside. At the moment, that scoreboard says Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Everyone's rating, including the referee David Coote. He's having a little chat to the two Fulham centre-backs as well. Now the lines get drawn. Offside. Offside. We know it. The Fulham fans have discovered it. They're yet to find out on the pitch. Let's wait for David Coote to get word. I think this is going to be ruled out, and I think they're going to have to change the scoreboard. They are. No goal. Martinelli offside. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal don't get that little bit of luck. Let's take you to Old Trafford. Manchester United, Southampton. Here's Lee Blakeman.
Still 0-0. Massive chance for Marcus Rashford, though. It was a good move down the United left. Fernandes played in Rashford, edge of the area left side, tried a shot hard and low across goal. Good save, low down to his left by Gavin Bazunu. 18 gone. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
First goal of the afternoon in the Premier League. Another 2 o'clock kick-off. West Ham against Aston Villa. Which way's it gone, Henry Moran?
It's gone to the visitors, Aston Villa, with such a simple move. Cross into the back post. There was Ollie Watkins' downward header beyond Areola. He has been on fire since the arrival of Unai Emery. Another goal for him. It's West Ham 0, Aston Villa 1.
18 and a half minutes gone. Craven Cottage very lively, as you can hear. I think as we were waiting for that VAR decision, our effects microphones might have just picked up a little bit of industrial language. Apologies if anyone offended. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. Andreas Pereira on the ball for Fulham, plays across to Anthony Robinson in the left-back position. Tim Ream takes a risk, good skills, but then gives the ball away. Trouble for Fulham. Here's Ødegaard. Jinks onto his left foot, good pass, finds Xhaka, touch from him, sliding effort, and Leno gets down, makes the save at his near post. That goes behind for an Arsenal corner. So the own goal ruled out. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0. Aston Villa have the lead at West Ham. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. And Chelsea's women leading Manchester United by a goal to 0 in the WSL. I see on the video print that Tottenham's women have gone 1-0 up away to Liverpool in a 2 o'clock kickoff. Almost 20 minutes played here in the Premier League at Craven Cottage on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Fulham set up, all the white shirts stationed around the edge of the 6-yard box. Black Arsenal shirts start to make the runs. Ball comes skidding into the penalty area, hits Anthony Robinson, which I'm sure probably worries him close to his own goal after what happened a couple of minutes ago, but this one comes off him and goes behind for another corner. Taking it back to Ibrox shortly. Rangers against Wraith in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. Come on Fulham, come on Fulham. You can hear, which is slightly more polite from the Fulham fans, ringing around the stadium now. Corner will be taken by Leandro Trossard. This one higher and deeper towards the far post. Mitrovic up to win the header. Saka onto it, wide on the right. Controls it, plays back to Partey. Partey whips a high cross in towards the far post. Robinson heads it away. I think it's gone behind for another Arsenal corner, so we won't break away from this just yet. Fulham 0, Arsenal 0 at Craven Cottage. Fulham fans all jam-packed on their feet behind that goal, away to our right. Trossard again, very carefully places the ball on the edge of the quadrant, steps back down a slight slope here behind the byline, and then curls another corner in with his right foot. Gabriel up highest to head this home, and I'm pretty sure that one's going to stand. Nice simple header for the big Arsenal centre-back. Tosin comes across to complain about something to the referee, but Arsenal have the ball in the net again. Gabriel with the header. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Arsenal players in a big huddle of celebration. Gabriel was the scorer of a late important goal for them against Fulham back at the Emirates Stadium in August. We'll just have a look on the replay monitor here to see what Tosin was possibly talking about. Possibly a little bit of push and shove and shirt tugging and what have you in the penalty area as usual before a corner, but Gabriel makes the run. He's in amongst a clutch of bodies. He powers his header in from very close range. Bernd Leno got a glove to it but couldn't prevent it from going in. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Let's take you to Ibrox then. Here's Roddy Forsyth.
If you told Ryan Nolan of Wraith Rovers that he'd sweep the ball spectacularly into the net, he'd doubtless have been pleased about that, but unfortunately it was into his own goal. It's now Rangers 2, Wraith Rovers 0, and proof to Nolan that you can't always get what you want.
Very good, Roddy. Thank you very much indeed. Tim Ream. Diagonal high ball away to the right. So Fulham got to try and come from behind here. Arsenal in the title race, responding to Manchester City's win that I saw at Crystal Palace last night through the Erling Haaland penalty. 12 games to go. This the first of them. Win this one, they'll be 5 points clear again at the top of the table. Don't forget the two still have to play each other again at the Etihad Stadium. Wednesday the 26th of April, that one. That needs ringing in the diary. But at the moment here, Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. And Gabriel with his third goal of the season, who I know also from my work on the Fantasy 606 podcast is a popular pick amongst fantasy managers. So if Arsenal go on to get the clean sheet and he gets the goal as well, he will have done very well for all his owners. Closing stages, Chelsea, Manchester United in the WSL. Flo Pollock.
Yeah, this massive game in the WSL title race is coming to a close. Chelsea leading by 1-0. We've got seconds remaining here. That goal came from Sam Kerr in the first half. An absolutely brilliant goal. Long through ball. She chested it down, lobbed it over Mary Earps. Manchester United have the ball in Chelsea's half in these final seconds. They've really struggled to have any chances, and there is the full-time whistle. Ali, Chelsea take control of the WSL title race. They jump above Manchester United, and the reigning WSL champions have beaten Manchester United by 1-0.
Thank you, Flo. Big win for Chelsea, big win for Chelsea's men yesterday away at Leicester. Manchester City's women 1-0 up away to Brighton in the WSL. Liverpool have equalised at home against Tottenham. A couple of more games kicking off at 3 o'clock. This is Fulham Arsenal in full on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this afternoon, just past the midway point in the first half. Arsenal have had the ball in the back of the net twice. The second one has counted. Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. West Ham 0, Aston Villa 1. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. Trossard's corner in again looking for Gabriel, headed away. A lot of Arsenal bodies inside that Fulham penalty area. Mitrovic tries to dribble out. He's stopped. Ball's back with Zinchenko. Passes across here to Saliba. Saliba running forward, fancies a dribble, beats Harrison Reed, tees up the shot, hits it well but over the bar, and behind it goes for the goal kick. So Fulham 0, Arsenal 1. Mikel Arteta gets the win this afternoon. Apparently that will be his 100th win as Arsenal manager from 168 games in all competitions. I've not got the win ratio down in front of me, but if you're a mathematician, I'm sure you can work that one out fairly simply. Arsenal in action again against Sporting in the second leg of their Europa League tie on Thursday. We'll have full commentary on that one. Then Crystal Palace at home in the Premier League next weekend because they're not involved in those FA Cup quarter-finals. And then it'll be the international break. Plenty of time to go in this game as well, though. 25 minutes gone in the first half. Arsenal, Premier League leaders, leading Fulham by 1-0. Ødegaard playing the ball back to Ben White in his bright red boots, who then plays to Saliba inside his own half. Ødegaard again. It's the Arsenal fans you can hear singing away to my left here. Partey to Ødegaard. Ødegaard closed down by a couple of Fulham players in white shirts. Back it comes to Saliba. Across to Gabriel. Gabriel wasn't quite sure whether that was going to Ramsdale or Saliba. Saliba's taking control of the situation. Fulham just starting to press a little higher. They feel they've got Arsenal hemmed in here. That's when Arsenal can be dangerous. Bukayo Saka dribbling inside his own half in the right back position. Holds off Solomon. Saliba lets it go through his legs. Then he's hurried into a clearance with his left foot. Not just a clearance, it's a really good pass. Granit Xhaka is in acres of space here, and he's striding forward into the Fulham half. Trossard starts to make a run. Xhaka passes it into his feet, awkward to control. Trick from Trossard, stands the cross up. Underneath it, Martinelli heads it home, and Arsenal have a 2-goal cushion here at Craven Cottage. Exactly what they wanted this afternoon, because they were pushed really close against Bournemouth last weekend. But this afternoon here on the banks of the Thames, they are cruising. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. Penalty at West Ham, Henry Moran.
And a chance for West Ham to draw level. The foul was at the back post. It was a little bit of a tangle between Paqueta, who was felled by the man that came into the side today, Leon Bailey, and the task of equalising falls to side Ben Rama. He's got the ball on the spot in front of him. Emiliano Martinez, famous of course for his World Cup penalty shootout antics, and he waits now. Here comes the penalty, scored, smashed into the roof of the net, and there's the equaliser. West Ham United draw level. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Thank you, Henry. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2 here at Craven Cottage. I think every time something goes Arsenal's way, I may have to issue the language apology. There is a certain gentleman sitting not too far away who is not very happy with Fulham's defending this afternoon. Again, anyone offended, we do apologise. Arsenal leading comfortably by 2-0 and going well for Aston Villa away to West Ham. What about events at Old Trafford? Lee Blakeman's watching Manchester United at home against Southampton.
It's 0-0, but Southampton should be ahead. Perro down the left, sent in across, found Walcott, powerful header 7 yards out. What a stop by David De Gea, point blank range, strong hand to get it over the crossbar. Still 0-0.
Thank you, Lee. West Ham 1, Villa 1. Beg your pardon on that scoreline. West Ham 1, Villa 1 at the London Stadium. Henry Moran with the updates there. Manchester United, Southampton goalless. And as you can hear now at Craven Cottage, it has gone very, very quiet indeed. The home fans have been quelled. Arsenal with 1 disallowed, 2 that have counted, and they lead Fulham by 2-0. Here's Saliba looking for the longer ball over the top towards Martinelli. It was Saliba's pass out from the back actually that created that second goal. It found Xhaka in a load of space. He did well, ran it forward, and it was a little chip cross that hung in the air for ages. Martinelli climbed up high and headed in from a couple of yards away. So that's where we stand. Newcastle against Wolves is our commentary at 4:30 this afternoon. John Murray and Pat Nevin will be bringing you the commentary on that one. Here's Martin Ødegaard on the ball for Arsenal. Plays across the Fulham half to Granit Xhaka. Xhaka finds Zinchenko. Back to Xhaka again. And now Saliba. Arsenal in total control. Ben White closed down by Solomon. Plays back to William Saliba. Saliba turns and plays to his goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, and for all Fulham's attacking threat so far this season and the goals they've scored, Ramsdale's not had a single save to make. There's been the one ball into Mitrovic towards the far post. It wouldn't have counted. He lobbed it over the bar anyway. Saka up against Robinson. Plays back to Ødegaard, midway inside the Fulham half. Straight ball down the middle, clever one, nearly found Martinelli. It's Trossard wide left at the moment, and Martinelli playing as the centre forward. Chance for Fulham to bring it forward. Decadova-Reid couldn't find the run of Andreas Pereira. Arsenal have dealt with that, closed it down, and Aaron Ramsdale has the ball at his feet. So coming up to half an hour played. Sky's greying a little here at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. Trossard back to Partey. Partey imposing figure, striding forward, gentle pace, up to the halfway line, stops, turns, plays back to Saliba, and Saliba uses Partey again. Partey quickly out to Saka on the right. Saka taking on Robinson, brings it infield, low pass to Ødegaard. Trossard tries to play in Saka around the corner. Tim Ream closes that down. Solomon plays it back to Robinson. Robinson chips the ball downfield, works out well. Mitrovic chests it down, moves away from Partey and plays it back to Tim Ream. Tim Ream's pointing where he wants someone to run. That man is Andreas Pereira. Pereira inside his own half, drills the diagonal. Decadova-Reid just set up a little too late for that one, and it skips away from him and goes out for a throw-in to Arsenal in their left-back position. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. Manchester United and Southampton still goalless. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. Mick Jagger close up on the monitor in front of me with his baseball cap on, watching the action here at Craven Cottage. If you were going to go for the absolute obvious there and you're supporting Fulham, certainly that gentleman you've heard a couple of times on our effects microphones can't get no satisfaction. Apologies. Pereira, midway inside the Arsenal half, being chased by Ødegaard. Ødegaard trying to close it down, keeps going, but it's back with Reid. Now Lukic. Lukic turns, plays back to Tim Ream, and Ream comes forward. About 10 yards short of the Arsenal half in the inside left position. Again he points and says, go there. Lukic gets onto it, 25 yards out. Wasn't quite sure what to do. Plays it across to Harrison Reid. Not decisive enough from Fulham in the final third as yet. Ream, straight ball towards Solomon. He's the man you'd think, given his recent goal-scoring record, that could make the difference. And here he is on the ball. Ben White quickly towards him. Solomon runs away from him, plays it back to Lukic. Lukic across to Tosin forward to Reed. Reed chased by Xhaka, goes out wide to Tete, all inside the Arsenal half this at the moment. Decordova Reed involved again, lays it off to Tim Ream. Tim Ream moving forward with a purpose. Wide it goes to the left this time to Anthony Robinson. Saka's back there doing his defensive job. Now Solomon on the ball, 30 yards out, plays it back to Lukic, slightly deeper and more central. Toss in forward to Reed. Tete had started to make a run in from the right, then stops, and here's Reed and doesn't see a way through, so plays back to toss in again. Fulham fans holler encouragement. Reed wide to Solomon. Ben White just backpedaling at the moment. Solomon moves on the inside, hits that corner with the right foot. Cross actually it turned into towards the far post. Two Arsenal defenders have it covered. The Fulham fans applaud a bit better football from their team, but still their team trails by 2-0. Manchester United Southampton latest. Here's Lee Blakeman.
We've got a VAR check here for a possible red card for Casemiro. It's still 0-0. Anthony Taylor has been called over to the monitor. Casemiro went in, low challenge on Alcaraz, caught the ball, but there is a suggestion, and certainly looking at the replay here, that he's caught Alcaraz high with the follow through. Here comes Anthony Taylor now, reaches for his pocket, pulls out the yellow that he's already shown, waves it away, and it's a red card for Casemiro given by VAR. He took the ball first, but it's the follow through which has caught Alcaraz, and Manchester United, with 33 minutes played, are down to 10 men. Casemiro, a straight red card. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
Thank you, Lee. London Stadium next. West Ham against Aston Villa. Been a couple of goals in this first half for Henry Moran.
West Ham 1, Villa 1. Different game since that West Ham equaliser. Good opportunity for Kurt Zouma. Cross from the right, diving header, and that header just drifting wide. Good atmosphere, good game. West Ham 1, Villa 1.
Dramatic afternoon again in the Premier League. So Casemiro off for Manchester United. 0-0 against Southampton in that first half. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. Masses of drama here, in fact. Premier League leaders kind of doing their thing. Cross comes in from Tete. Ramsdale underneath it. Mitrovic challenged him. That was a hard one. That was in the air for a long time and spinning. Arsenal players around Ramsdale helping their keeper out. Saka plays out to Ødegaard from the edge of the box. Partey finds Saka. Lovely flowing football from Arsenal here. Saka to Xhaka. Xhaka forward to Zinchenko. Here they come. Martinelli picks up the pace on the left. Wants that pass. Lets it run past him. Tete follows him out. Martinelli goes to collect the ball, turns and plays back to Xhaka. Xhaka to Zinchenko, into midfield and Partey. Partey across to Saliba. Just over 10 minutes remaining in the first half at Craven Cottage. Arsenal leading Fulham by 2-0. Gabriel and Gabriel Martinelli, the goal scorers, with Gabriel Jesus on the bench for Arsenal this afternoon. I wonder whether he might get a run out. Fulham have given the ball away. Arsenal come looking for a third. Ødegaard run from Xhaka. 1-2 with Trossard. Oh, Xhaka trying to take it round Bernd Leno. Just wanted to be a little bit too clever with it. The football was brilliant again, and it probably should have been 3-0, and Granit Xhaka knows that. He went on running into the back of the Fulham net and almost comically banged his head against the post in frustration. Lovely step over from Xhaka. That was like Andy Cole and Dwight York back in the day, the interplay between Xhaka and Trossard. And then Xhaka's touch just let him down, and the ball just dribbled off his left boot and ran into Bernd Leno. Ball down the left for Anthony Robinson, has kept this in play. Little cut back, no, not right. Was looking for Solomon. Partey's there. Partey plays forward to Martinelli. Tosin reads it and intercepts. Pereira heads it to his left to Robinson. Fulham fans sensing a little more encouragement in the last few minutes. Now Andreas Pereira. Pereira's cross in, looking for Mitrovic. Easily headed away, that one, by Gabriel. Harrison Reed and Kenny Tete play a 1-2. Reed can't control the pass back to him. Trossard is there. He gives it to Zinchenko. Zinchenko whips a low ball into the midfield. Arsenal so dangerous on the counter. Silkily moving forward until I say that, and Ødegaard, for him, very unusually, really clubs the pass with the outside of his left foot, because Martinelli was in if he got that right, but he didn't. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Manchester United down to 10 men at home against Southampton, still goalless. West Ham 1, Villa 1, and Chelsea's women have beaten Manchester United and gone top of the WSL. Manor Solomon to Mitrovic, tackled by Xhaka. edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Trossard lays it off to Xhaka and back to Zinchenko. Zinchenko to Saliba. Saliba's got time here, sees Ødegaard coming towards him. They play a 1-2. Saliba surrounded by 3 white shirts, but still looks up, gets it away. White down the right-hand touchline to Saka, and Saka plays across to Gabriel. Arsenal in total control at the moment. Zinchenko jogging infield with the ball at his feet. Decordova-Reid comes towards him, so he launches a high one diagonally to the right. Controlled by Saka on the instep of his left boot. Plays it to Ødegaard, looking for Saka again. Saka in behind the Fulham defenders. Cuts it back to Martinelli. It's run to Trossard. Trossard drives it wide with his left foot. Couldn't quite decide whether to hit it with the left or the right. The left actually made it tougher to find the angle. Hit it well. And Leno watches it sail wide. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. Manchester City against Leipzig is our commentary in the Champions League on Tuesday night. Real Madrid against Liverpool in full view on Wednesday night. How's the game developing at Old Trafford, Lee Blakeman?
Well, Manchester United have got a free kick, edge of the Southampton penalty area, but remember, they are down to 10. That straight red card for Casemiro, given by VAR. Anthony Taylor was called over to the screen. Casemiro in tears as he made his way down the tunnel. He went and hugged Alcaraz before he left the pitch as well. Alcaraz, the player who he fouled, will just stay with it here for this United free kick. Shaw and Fernandes both standing over it, right on the edge of the area. 7 to go until the break. Fernandes with the cross towards the back post, and it's a good save by Bazunu to deny a United player who was arriving late. 0-0.
Thank you, Lee. That one also kicked off at 2 o'clock, so closing stages of the first half. Still 0-0. Just looking back, reminding myself it was Casemiro sent off in the 2-1 win for Manchester United against Crystal Palace back in February, which didn't rule him out of the League Cup, served the suspension before that League Cup final, but Manchester United did end up winning that game. Sent off today, and then 0-0 at home against Southampton. Sunderland 1-0 winners away to Norwich in the Championship. Rangers are 2 goals to the good against Wraith in the Scottish Cup quarter-final, with Celtic and Inverness Caledonian Thistle already through to the semi-finals, having won yesterday. And we've got Newcastle Wolves in full from 4:30 with Scotland-Ireland in the Six Nations. We'll bring you some build-up to that at half-time on 5 Live this afternoon. Coverage on Sports Extra starts at 5 to 3. Game kicks off at 3 o'clock. Full commentary over on Radio 5 Sports Extra with Sarah Orchard and the team, which reminds me to point you in the direction of the Rugby Union Daily podcast, out every day during Six Nations match weeks. And of course, the latest one will have reaction to the results yesterday, including that thumping defeat for England at home against France. 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Can Fulham try and get themselves a goal back? Mitrovic plays back to Tosin. Tosin forward to Harrison Reed, 30 yards out, wide on the right for Fulham. Arsenal have it covered defensively at the moment. Ball across to Ream. Ødegaard comes across to get in his face. Wide it goes to Robinson. Robinson looks for Mitrovic. Mitrovic, Saliba right behind him, gets tight. Mitrovic complains about the foul, but he's able to turn and keeps the ball. Don't have a feel there that he is just going to swivel and get away from Saliba. It's going to be the layoff and try and play in that way. Toss in. Wide to Decordova-Reid. Back to Harrison Reed. Reed scuttling across the Arsenal half to Ream. Ream White to Solomon on the left, ball at his feet. Ben White shuffling towards him. Fulham keeping it, but at the moment no real threat from them. Wide to Tete. Martinelli makes a nuisance of himself there. Physical with Tete, plays his pass away. Ream across to Robinson on the left. Pereira stretches. Can't find Mitrovic. Saliba intercepts for Arsenal into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Fulham 0, Arsenal 2. Ramsdale just put under a little bit of pressure. Oh, it's given it away to Pereira. Mitrovic waiting in the middle. Pereira goes for goal from the tight angle. He's floated it over the bar. And that really, the only look that Fulham have had at the Arsenal goal, and it just came from an Arsenal mistake. Gabriel did not play a good ball back to Ramsdale. Ramsdale then took a poor second touch of the ball. Pereira was in. Mitrovic just waiting for that ball in the middle. Wanted the 50-50 challenge from the cross. And Pereira, his eyes lit up and thought he might be able to beat Ramsdale almost down from the byline, like the Seamus Coleman goal for Everton a couple of weeks ago, but instead got underneath it and over the bar it went. West Ham 1, Villa 1. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. Latest in the Premier League so far this afternoon. Throw in Fulham inside their own half on the right in front of that giant Riverside stand, which isn't fully populated as yet, but fans at either end, and also running right across the lower tier of it alongside the touchline behind the dugouts opposite side of the field to us. Ødegaard plays back to Saliba. Partey makes a nice run through the Fulham midfield, gets away from Harrison Reed. Saka wants it and Saka gets it, tries to backheel it to Ben White, who's not really been able to get forward in the first half. Tried once there, pass couldn't find him. Ream plays back to Leno. Leno closed down by Trossard, clears with his right foot up to the halfway line, and Gabriel wins the header, nods it forward. Martinelli tries to take it in his stride, he's fouled. Tete stuck out a leg. Arsenal get the free kick. 2.5 minutes to go in the first half, and let's see what they can do with this one. Long way out, so it's either play it short and build up again, or have a look for the two giant centre-backs who are slowly cruising their way forward to the edge of the penalty area. Close-up of a pensive Marco Silva at the moment. Hair greying ever so slightly on either side of his head. Just perusing the action, lips pursed. His team 2-0 down. Ødegaard with hands on hips, waiting to take this free kick for Arsenal. Waiting for David Coote's whistle. Clutch of Arsenal players in the black shirts just gathered on the edge of the D, just getting ready to burst apart and make their runs. Here it comes from Ødegaard. Delivery into the near post. Tossins up to head it away. Martinelli will chase that clearance out to the left-hand touchline. Back to Ødegaard, across to Zinchenko. Zinchenko to White. And White finds Saka. Saka jumps from right foot to left foot. Robinson backs off. Saka plays it to his right. Ben White forward again. Lays it off to Trossard. Trossard thought about the early cross. Little scoot pass to Saka. Saka with his back to goal in the Fulham area. Lays it off to Ben White. White with a left-footed ball into the far post. Good ball. Martinelli shoots. Comes back off the post. And Tosin is there to clear it away for Fulham. Could so easily have been 3-0. Could so easily have been a second for Gabriel Martinelli. Suddenly Fulham are on the counter. Here's Decordova-Reid, sliding challenge from Martin Ødegaard. Arsenal have won the ball back. West Ham against Aston Villa. Here's Henry Moran.
West Ham won, Aston Villa won, but should have been the lead retaken by Villa. Watkins with a great opportunity for a second. Ball across the face of goal. Low finish, saved point blank by Areola. Brilliant save. West Ham won, Aston Villa won.
Last minute of the first half at Craven Cottage. Arsenal 2-0 up. They've also hit the post. What about Old Trafford, Lee Blakeman?
As a response to that sending off of Casemiro, Erik ten Hag has just made a change. He's taken off Wout Weghorst, who's just going to take his place on the bench down Malome. Scott McTominay coming on for the final minute of the first half plus stoppage time. 0-0.
Thank you, Lee. Free kick conceded by Thomas Partey here late in the first half. He's caught Andreas Pereira about 40 yards from goal. He's protesting his innocence. It was right under the nose of the referee, and that will be a free kick. I'm going to ask myself the question and answer the question: how much are Fulham missing João Palhinha this afternoon? I would say quite a bit. We know how good he's been for Fulham since signing this summer, and they have struggled without him. They've conceded goals without him. Such an important, solid presence in that midfield. And in fact, the Martinelli chance just seen on the replay didn't come back off the post. Bernd Leno was on his backside, but actually had the presence of mind to keep the left arm up and made the save. That was going in had he not done so. So good save from Leno to keep it at 2-0. Free kick for Fulham. Added time at the end of the first half. Pereira scoops it up into the air. Mitrovic jumps for it, the obvious target. Beaten in the air. Trossard's there. Dummies the clearance. That's very good. Fools Ream. Dummies him again. Back onto his left foot. Arsenal fans enjoyed that. Cleared up to the halfway line. It sails over Saka's head. He'll chase it through, and Tosin will play it back to Leno. Leno closed down by Saka. Passes straight up the middle of the pitch to Robinson. Robinson lays it off to Tosin, but Arsenal aren't giving this up, just chasing that ball. Decordova-Reid tries a little flick to Tete. Gabriel intercepts. Harrison Reed's pass, blocked by Trossard, and the ball goes out for a throw-in to Fulham. Halfway line, over on the right as Fulham attack. Being beaten by the better team so far this afternoon. High looping throw. Partey in hard. Beats Pereira in the air. Saka sees it opening up on the left for Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli forward to Trossard. Trossard looks up, whips the cross in. Oh, it reaches Ødegaard. Onto the left foot. Drives it in. Game, set and match, and we're not even at half-time. Martin Ødegaard makes it double figures in goals for him this season, and Arsenal are moving 5 points clear again at the top of the Premier League table. They are making it look so easy at Craven Cottage this afternoon. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Beautiful finish from Ødegaard with the left foot. We've seen him do that so many times this season. Wasn't rushed, bodies around him, took his time, worked it onto his left foot and drilled the shot into the bottom corner. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Another goal in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. Roddy Forsyth.
In the last minute of normal time, Rangers have scored again, 3-0 now. Scott Arfield, who come on as a substitute, left with a simple matter to tap the ball in the far post. So it's Rangers 3, Wraith Rovers 0. There'll be no dancing in the streets of Wraith tonight.
Thank you, Roddy. Half-time whistle's just blown at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. It's going to be some miraculous comeback from Fulham if they're going to get anything out of this game. Exactly what Mikel Arteta wanted from his team. Able to name his strongest lineup, and they are in total control. Gabriel with the first, Martinelli with the second. Ødegaard has driven in the third, and Mikel Arteta strides back across the pitch here at Craven Cottage towards the tunnel. Half-time at Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. United down to 10 though. Casemiro sent off for a foul on Alcaraz. He took the ball, Casemiro, but the follow-through was high, stood showing. It was initially a yellow card shown by referee Anthony Taylor, but he was called to the monitor and changed it to a red afterwards. Casemiro in tears as he made his way down the tunnel. As far as chances go, Southampton had the best just before that. A Walcott header 7 yards out, lots of power in it. Great point-blank save from David De Gea to turn it over the crossbar. United, plenty of the ball, even after the red card. United's best chance, Rashford forcing a save from Bazunu, low down to the keeper's left. As a result of the red, Weghorst off, McTominay on, a decision made by Erik ten Hag. And at half-time, it's Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
Perfectly timed half-time report from Lee Blakeman, because just as he was finishing up there, the half-time whistle has blown in the other 2 o'clock kickoff in the Premier League at the London Stadium. West Ham against Aston Villa. Couple of goals there. Henry Moran.
West Ham 1, Villa 1. Really entertaining game this. Opportunities at both ends. The opener coming from Ollie Watkins, a familiar source. That's now 6 in his last 7 for Aston Villa. Downward header beyond Areola in the West Ham goal. Good cross in from Moreno. And after that, Villa could have doubled the lead before. Decisive moment in the half. West Ham penalty. Paqueta fouled by Bailey at the back post after Watkins had cleared off the line. And Said Benrahma did the rest, smashing the ball beyond Emiliano Martinez in the Aston Villa goal. Opportunities for Zuma, for Benrahma, for West Ham, and Watkins should have doubled his personal tally, but for an excellent low save from Areola. Good game this. West Ham 1, Villa 1.
So those are your half-time scorelines in the Premier League this afternoon. Full commentary of Newcastle Wolves to come at 4:30 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3 here at Craven Cottage. Manchester United down to 10 men, 0-0 against Southampton. West Ham 1, Villa 1. A cracker in the Six Nations getting underway shortly. Full commentary on this one on Radio 5 Sports Extra this afternoon. Ireland still on for the Grand Slam. They're at Murrayfield. They're away to Scotland. Let's take you there and hand you over to Sarah Orchard.
Thanks ever so much, Ali. Yes, welcome to Murrayfield, where conditions here right now, they're really quite pleasant. We are expecting a little bit of the rain to come in, but yes, what a prospect we have here today. The chance for Scotland to win their first Triple Crown since 1990. That's 33 years they've had to wait, and ultimately blow this whole competition wide open and send us through to what would not just be a super Saturday, but a completely spectacular Saturday. But the team stood in their way is the world #1 side, Ireland. They want that Grand Slam. Alongside me today, former Ireland international Shane Horgan, former Scotland international Johnny Beattie. I don't know who is more nervous or why, but Shane, tell us how you're feeling.
Yeah, the nerves have been building all week. The closer we've got to the game, the expectation levels are rising, but they were muted a little bit when I did see the team sheet came out on Thursday. That is an exceptionally strong Irish side, maybe the strongest 23 Ireland have put out. We're missing Tadhg Byrne, but apart from that, this is maybe the strongest team of the Six Nations so far.
Yeah, definitely. The likes of the returning Johnny Sexton, Conor Murray's back in, starting there. We get to see also on the bench return of Robbie Henshaw. I haven't seen him for a long time. Last time he played was back in November. But before we go into depth about Scotland, Johnny, it's a very special day for one man playing fullback. Stuart Hogg today, 100 caps. Tell us a bit about him.
Oh, look, it certainly is. We're about to see his wife Jill and the kids wander onto the field in front of us as well, and just an exceptional talent. One of 4 men to have made 100 caps for Scotland after Chris Patterson, Ross Ford and Sean Maitland. He's one of only 4 Scottish players to have been picked for 3 Lions tours. That really puts him in a context that is special, a little bit apart in the bracket like Andy Irvine, Big Brune from Troon and John Beattie Senior. So incredible names and just once in a generation talent. We've been lucky to have him, but also off field he's just a gent and a good boy. So delighted for him, his family, to get to celebrate this together and hopefully add to that a big win.
You say a big win today. Scotland do have this opportunity. First of all, Shane, how nervous would Ireland be about this Scotland team, particularly after what happened in France last week? Forget about the red cards. It was more how Scotland absolutely blew France off the park. I know they were 19-0 down at one point, but they did come back into it.
I'm not sure if it's nerves that they'll have against them, because I think they're very aware they would have done a lot of the research on Scotland. They're used to seeing, they know how good Scotland are, and Scotland have been fantastic so far in this tournament, and that was demonstrated against the French in particular. I'd say they're very respectful of the French team, of the Scottish team, and I think one of the key areas is around the defence. So Ireland are very good at pushing teams around the flank to try and say go after that space, but Scotland, that's the thing that they like doing the most.
Just quickly, Johnny.
That's going to be the challenge for me, is again the physicality. Can we achieve some gain line? Can we let Finn Russell fizz those passes across the front of a 13 channel and challenge that 13 wing area? That is the only chink I can see in the Irish armour. So a huge test coming up.
Well, thank you so much, gents. There will be commentary of Scotland against Ireland now on 5 Sports Extra, but now on 5 Live. Let's get back to Ali Bruce-Ball.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, coverage of that about to get underway. We'll keep you updated here on 5 Live this afternoon. That's at Murrayfield. What about events at Ibrox? Scottish Cup quarter-final. It's been watched by Roddy Forsyth.
Rangers joined Celtic and Inverness Cally Thistle in the last 4. Along with Falkirk and Ayr United. They play on Monday night. It was a straightforward victory for Rangers. 3-0. Barisic's corner kick met by Conor Golson with a booming header just before half-time. Ryan Nolan sweeping an attempted clearance past his own goalkeeper before Scott Arfield with a simple tap-in close to the end made it 3-0 for Rangers. Jamie McDonald, the Wraith goalkeeper, saying to himself, no doubt, give me shelter.
I wasn't expecting that one. Thank you, Roddy. In the Championship today, 1 game early kick-off. Sunderland 1-0 winners away to Norwich. In the WSL, a couple of half-time scores for you. Brighton's women 1-1 against Manchester City. Liverpool's women went 1-0 down at home to Tottenham. They now lead by 2-1. The big game between the top 2 was won by Chelsea, which has taken them top. They beat Manchester United by 1-0. And very shortly you'll be hearing from the Chelsea manager Emma Hayes on that one. We'll pay a visit to St James's Park as well and have a chat with John Murray. That's our second Premier League commentary for you this afternoon on 5 Live. That is Newcastle at home against Wolves, which kicks off at 4:30. But now, time for the news here on 5 Live with Carl Hartley.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The row over the decision to suspend Gary Lineker has led to more disruption for BBC Sport, with changes to TV and radio programmes. Presenters and pundits are refusing to go on air for a second day in solidarity with the former footballer who compared the government's language around migration to 1930s Germany. John Barnes played with Lineker for England in the 80s and early 90s.
In terms of what he actually says, he's right in what he says. As to whether it's the impartiality rule or the fact that he was criticising the government or the fact of this nonsense about him comparing England to Nazi Germany, which he wasn't. He was talking about the language used when he talked about rapists from, coming over from Syria or Iraq. And the point I'd like to make to Gary and to other people, this is a conversation that should be had in terms of why we feel more empathy and more support for Ukrainian refugees, but not for the people coming over on boats.
Well, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey, says the BBC needs to apply its impartiality rules consistently. He says the chairman, Richard Sharp, who was appointed by the government and is being investigated by the BBC for potential conflicts of interest, should be removed.
He was an appointment of Boris Johnson, of the Conservative government. He was a Conservative donor, and in his own words, he acted as an introduction agency for a loan for the former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. If we're going to draw a line under this Gary Lineker episode, I think there has to be seen to be change, and it has to go from the very top.
In other news, the Chancellor has promised to help reduce the cost of childcare at Wednesday's budget, part of a wider drive to help people into work. Jeremy Hunt told the BBC that costs were stopping some parents taking a job and the government could make a big difference to reduce them. But he did say public finances meant the room for tax cuts was limited. Ukraine says it's pushed back dozens of Russian assaults over the past 24 hours. Kyiv also claims that more than 200 Russian soldiers were killed in one day, but there's been no verification on that figure. And the Doctors' Union has launched an advertising campaign before its members begin 3 days of strikes tomorrow in England. The BMA say junior doctors can earn more serving coffee than on their starting salary. The government is calling for the union to abandon the industrial action and re-enter talks.
This is 5 Live Sport.
Welcome back to Craven Cottage this Sunday afternoon. 5 Live's Premier League Sunday. Half-time, Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Former England international Rachel Yankey, former Arsenal player and Fulham player in the women's game, out on the pitch at the moment giving an interview. Fulham today marking International Women's Day, which was on Wednesday. Big game in the WSL today. The early kickoff at 12:30. Chelsea's women beat Manchester United by a goal to nil. A superb goal from their star striker Sam Kerr, meaning Chelsea now go above Manchester United at the top of the table. After the game, Flo Pollock spoke to the Chelsea boss Emma Hayes.
We deserved it. That was the Chelsea performance. Depleted. We have sickness bug in the camp. We couldn't. Erin carrying a knock, Jelena Kankovic carrying a knock. But what a tremendous squad I have, and I've been saying it every week, and it was time for others to step up. I thought Melanie Leopolds, Jessie Fleming deserve particular attention because, as I say every week, when you're grinding in the background, you don't always get picked. You have to be ready for that moment, and that's what I think we're better equipped to do this season.
And we're running out of superlatives now for Sam Kerr, but a word on her from you about that goal.
No, listen, she should have had a hat-trick today, to be fair, and I will say that because that's how good she is. I think we set up really well to get her into good goal-scoring positions, and let's talk about the work she does for the team defensively, because everybody had to put a shift in today. We knew we were going to be without the ball for large periods, and everyone was disciplined in their roles and carried out the game plan to perfection.
So that's the Chelsea boss, Emma Hayes. Chelsea back on top of the WSL before the second half here at Craven Cottage. I can see some of the support staff just making their way across the pitch and over to the dugouts, which means it won't be long before the players are back out. Let's take you to St James's Park as well. Just get a little preview of our second commentary this afternoon. That is going to be Newcastle against Wolves, which kicks off at 4:30. I've just very quickly here, John Murray brought up Newcastle's sort of recent record without a win in the last 5 games. Important game for Eddie Howe and his team this afternoon. Hello.
Yes, it is. Hello. Good afternoon to you from St James's Park. Grey and overcast here today. This is the first time Newcastle have been back here since their appearance in the Cup final, and first time I've been here since the match that they played here against Liverpool, and up to that point they'd lost only 2 matches in all competitions all season. Now they've lost 3 in a row, and this I feel, Ali, is a real test of their mettle, of what they've got at the moment, and whether they're able to regroup and go again against Wolverhampton Wanderers here today.
Yeah, and Wolves, John, start the day 27 points, 4 points above the bottom 3. I've seen a little bit of them recently. Yulan Lopetegui is, seems to be doing an okay job at Wolves, but they're by no means safe at the moment.
Yeah, but 17 points from their last 11 matches, so they've taken more points than Newcastle have in that period of time. But the problem is for Wolverhampton Wanderers, as anyone who watches Wolves will know, I mentioned it to Tony Livesey on Drive on Friday afternoon, it was 1 year on Friday since a recognised centre forward scored a goal in the Premier League for Wolves. That's remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whoever's played in that position, that none of them have been able to get the ball in the back of the net in the Premier League. So, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
It's very obvious where they need to improve. Yet, in saying that, finished 10th in the Premier League last season and have been able to put together this run that I've just mentioned, despite that.
Thank you, John. John with Pat Nevin alongside him. 4:30 this afternoon, 5 Live and BBC Sounds for full commentary of Newcastle against Wolves. One place I know I'd love to be this evening this afternoon over in the USA is in Florida. That's where our golf correspondent Ian Carter is. Final round of the players underway. Ian and the team will bringing you commentary on Sports Extra from 8:45. Ian, set up very nicely.
It is set up beautifully, especially when you consider the English players on the leaderboard, Tommy Fleetwood and Aaron Rye from Wolverhampton, who had an amazing day yesterday with that hole-in-one on the 17th, sandwiched with birdies on 16 and 18. They're both at 9 under par. They'll be underway round about 5:30 your time. We had the clocks change here overnight, so only a 4-hour time difference. But it's Scotty Scheffler, the world number 2, who is going to be the red-hot favourite tonight. That birdie on the last yesterday really did make a massive difference. A 2-shot lead over Minwoo Lee. They're the final pairing out at 5:45 your time. The course looks like it's set up a little tougher today. Brendan Todd's managed to pick up 3 shots in 8 holes so far, but I don't think we'll have quite the fireworks of yesterday, but nevertheless an enthralling final day to this players.
Yeah, can't wait to listen. Thank you, Ian. Ian and the team, 8:45 onwards on Sports Extra tonight. It's always a great listen. Great finish to that tournament. Scotty Scheffler starting with the 2-shot lead. That is the final round of the players. And the Masters, of course, less than a month away. Tantalisingly close. Second half underway at Craven Cottage. Scotland-Ireland already underway at Murrayfield. Commentary of that over on Radio 5 Sports Extra. We'll keep you updated. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3 here. Manchester United and Southampton, West Ham and Aston Villa will be getting underway in the second half as well. And as you heard from John Murray, Newcastle against Wolves to follow as a Premier League commentary for you this afternoon. Neither manager's made any changes. Here come Fulham, early attack. Harrison Reed's cutback. Oh, Pereira's nearly scored. And Mitrovic is claiming handball. It's going to be a corner. David Coots given the original decision as a corner. He is surrounded by Fulham players here, led by Alexander Mitrovic. The cut back in from the right-hand side. The shot was hit by Pereira. It spun wide of the post and took a deflection. And it's Saliba who steps in, and maybe the ball just jumps up and hits a dangling arm that is behind him. I mean, the arm is in a totally natural position. Maybe it did flick the hand. Referee's blown the whistle and he's calling Tim Ream across, and maybe that's for the reaction from the Fulham players to argue for the giving of a penalty. So conversation between the referee and Tim Ream. Corner is yet to be taken. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. And Fulham in the white shirts, black shorts, white socks, attacking a packed Hammersmith end away to our right. Andreas Pereira, who hit that shot, now takes the corner towards the back post. Ramsdale flaps at it. Now Lukic has gone down, holding his face in the penalty area. One of the Arsenal players is down. Both are holding their heads. So the referee immediately stops the game and waves the medical staff onto the field. It's a fairly dramatic start to the second half here at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. I'll get you through the 2 team lineups again in just a second. Why don't we check in on the early stages of the second half at Old Trafford? Manchester United playing this game now with 10 men. Lee Blakeman.
Yeah, early on, Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. As you would expect, Southampton dominating possession in the opening 3 minutes of this second half. Theo Walcott seeing a lot of the ball. Shea Adams 2. Manchester United without Casemiro, sent off on 33 after VAR intervened. Anthony Taylor was sent to the monitor and he overturned the yellow, turned it to a red. 0-0 at Old Trafford.
What's the news at the London Stadium? West Ham against Aston Villa. Henry Moran.
Early chance in this second half for Said Benrahma to get his second of the afternoon. The shot volley at the back post beaten away by Martinez in the Aston Villa goal, just as the final strains of I'm Forever blowing bubbles were drifting around this ground. Almost the lead taken by West Ham. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Players about to get back underway. Both players back on their feet and seem to be okay. It was Saliba for Arsenal. It was Lukic for Fulham, challenging for a ball at the far post. Just have a little look at it on the monitor. Saliba was caught by his own goalkeeper, and Lukic was caught by an Arsenal player. The 2 players were sort of arms outstretched chasing a ball, and it was an accidental arm in the face that caught Lukic. We're going to have a drop ball just outside the Arsenal box, and now Arsenal are saying, if you drop this, we're going to thump it back into the Fulham half. Bobby Decordova-Reid not particularly happy with that. He actually wants to challenge for the drop ball. That's not going to happen. Norwich 0, Sunderland 1, result in the Championship today. Rangers through to the Scottish Cup semi-finals along with Celtic and Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Ball is dropped at Zinchenko's feet. Arsenal have kept the ball, in fact, and played it across to Ben White. Now here's Thomas Partey, who's chipping one over the tot, and Tim Ream has got it covered. Chelsea's women beat Manchester United's women by 1-0. Heard from Emma Hayes at half-time. Brighton won, Manchester City won. Second half back underway. Liverpool's women leading Tottenham by 2-1, and the 3 o'clock kickoffs underway. Leicester, Everton, West Ham, Aston Villa in the WSL are both 0-0. Sports Extra will have commentary of Arsenal Reading, which is a 6:45 kickoff in the WSL this evening later on for you. But at the moment it's Scotland, Ireland in the Six Nations. Here's Bobby Decordova-Reid. Fulham have made a good start to the second half. Crossing towards Mitrovic, too close to Ramsdale, comes flying out, punches it, and his momentum just took him into Mitrovic. He's taken a knock, and so we're going to get another stoppage in play at the moment, just to check that Aaron Ramsdale's okay. John Murray was talking about the lovely wooden seats that we sit in our commentary position here at Craven Cottage. The one I've sat in actually today, I don't know whether it was because John was in it, it's actually broken. It's slightly loose, and I'm slightly worried I'm going to disappear at any point underneath the desk. So if the message is out across the airwaves and anyone's listening at Craven Cottage, I don't know what number I'm in. Next to 39, but I can't see the number next to me. Seat 40 in our row, front row of the media box. Needs a little screw in to sort the seat out. Ramsdale's okay. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Arsenal leading 3-0. Pereira's corner into the far post. Saliba up to win a header. Tosin is there, wide on the right. Gets a good cross back in. Volleyed away by Granit Xhaka. Robinson leaps to win a header. Here come Arsenal on the counter. First time ball from Ødegaard into the path of Martinelli. Saka and Trossard making ground in the middle. Martinelli with the cut back here to Ødegaard. Ødegaard with those dancing feet, trying to work it onto his left foot. Here's Trossard, hits the shot. Comfortable save for Leno, who gets down. It was straight at him and covers it easily. Gets to his feet and jogs to the edge of his 6-yard box. Bowls the ball out underarm here for Kenny Tete. Big game for Fulham next week, of course. FA Cup quarter-finals. And they are away to Manchester United. Tim Ream plays the ball to Pereira. Pereira followed by Partey. Arteta and Partey say that's a throw-in for Arsenal. It's gone Fulham's way. Mikel Arteta immediately turns and barks at fourth official Thomas Bramall as Fulham get the decision, but they've not done much with the throw. It's come all the way through to Aaron Ramsdale. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. West Ham 1, Villa 1. Zinchenko dribbling inside his own penalty area. Very nearly passed it straight to Mitrovic, which is why you heard the oohs and ahs from the Fulham fans all around us. Ream chests the ball down. Arsenal a bit sloppy at the start of this second half, but they do have a comfortable 3-0 lead. Next up for them is Thursday night Europa League action. We'll have commentary on that double-header on Thursday, actually, because we'll be in Seville for Real Betis against Manchester United. That one starts at 4-1 to Manchester United, but the Arsenal Sporting game is 2-2. We'll have commentary on that. 8 o'clock Thursday night. Tosin's ball just beyond Tete. He's in good space on the right as well, and he's frustrated. The Fulham fans are frustrated because it's gone straight past him and out for a throw. Zinchenko turns away from Decordova-Reid, plays it back to Gabriel, finds Zinchenko wide on the left. Arsenal very calmly playing out of tight spaces. Nice 1-2 between Martinelli and Xhaka. Across it goes to Ben White. White forward to Saka. Back to White again, rolls it down the line to Saka. Crisp first time ball into Ødegaard. Lovely first touch, beats Robinson. Saka moving at pace now down the right. Ream's come across to try and cover it. Saka's got the ball glued to that left foot. Now onto the right foot, back onto the left. Trying to find a teammate, still got it. Tackled eventually. And here's Pereira. Pereira's pass forward, stopped immediately by Partey. Solomon plays the ball into Sasa Lukic. Bit of space to work with inside his own half. Lukic runs beyond Trossard. Decordova-Reid plays it back to Tete. The move just loses a little bit of momentum. Tete, who's a tall man, has just decided to stop and walk for the moment, and now plays across to Lukic. Lukic, the Serbian, signed from Torino in January. João Palhinha unavailable for Fulham. They really will look forward to having him back for that FA Cup quarter-final away to Manchester United next weekend. Here's Ream. Ream plays back to Lukic inside his own half. Lukic just glides past Trossard. Mikel Arteta trying to organise defensive shape with hands outstretched wide on the touchline over there. 5 Live and BBC Sounds live from Craven Cottage this afternoon. Arsenal, the Premier League leaders, in complete control. Decordova-Reid, though, curls a ball into their box. Mitrovic nearly made it work. Saliba challenges him, didn't quite break for Mitrovic, and it rolls through to Aaron Ramsdale. Latest update from Old Trafford, Lee Blakeman.
The update is that Southampton have just gone close from a free kick. Therefore, you don't need me to tell you, it was James Ward-Prowse, 30 yards out, over the wall, dipping just, and I mean just, over David De Gea's crossbar. Southampton have made a change. Alcaraz has gone off. Stuart Armstrong's come on, and with 55 on the clock, it's still Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Harrison Reed on the ball to Pereira. No, he's overhit the pass beyond Mitrovic, and it's through to Ramsdale. West Ham Aston Villa underway in the second half. Henry Moran.
West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. The lead taken after an Ollie Watkins goal for Villa. Penalty from side Ben Rama equalising things into this second half. West Ham have been the better of the two sides, pushing forward. Ben Rama's gone close with a curled effort that's just evaded the crossbar. Here comes an opportunity for Villa, though, down the left-hand side, squirming, cross comes in, could be a chance, though, headed away at the back post, well defended. Down below me, West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Thank you, Henry. Half a chance for Fulham here, making a much better fist of it in the second half. Not a clever jump from Andreas Pereira, edge of the box, though he's jumped too early. He's jumped into Gabriel and he's conceded the free kick. But while we were listening to Henry there, a high floated cross from Kenny Tete, aimed at Mitrovic, who'd taken up his usual position at the far post, nodded it down, but Arsenal defender was able to get there first before a Fulham midfielder could race forward and try and get the strike away. Scotland-Ireland commentary in the Six Nations continues over on Sports Extra. Your round 4 review on 5 Live from 8 o'clock tonight. Martinelli very nearly finds a clever through ball to Trossard. Fulham just about scramble it away. Decordova-Reid does really well to control it wide on the right. Turns away from Martinelli just inside the Arsenal half, and Fulham giving this a much better go in the second half, but you feel like it is going to be too much for them to do. Solomon plays back here to Tim Ream. Ream running across his own half to Tossin. Huge, great figure towering over Trossard. Plays the ball forward. Now it comes to Harrison Reed on the right. Stocky little midfielder to Lukic. Lukic across to Pereira with the peroxide hair. Laid off to Ream. Wide it goes to Robinson. Good build-up. Solomon involved on the left. Saka's back, trying to stop him. Solomon to Pereira. Ødegaard breathing down Pereira's neck. Pereira flicks the ball with the outside of his right boot, but can't find Solomon, and the build-up comes to nothing. The ball is with the Arsenal goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale, clutching it tightly in both gloves, and very happy to take his time at the moment, with Arsenal 3 goals to the good. Saliba forward to Ødegaard. Lovely first touch. Not enough on the pass to find Saka. Robinson intercepts. Fulham have it. Reed towards Decordova-Reid to Mitrovic. Is going to hit one. Gabriel's there, close range to block. The ball spins off Gabriel, and Ramsdale's managed to keep it in down by the byline. But much more like it from Fulham, starting to threaten Arsenal a little bit more in the second half. Killer blow, of course, 3rd goal from Arsenal, which was the last kick of the game in the first half to stretch the lead to 3, which makes the Fulham comeback so unlikely. Arsenal have it. Saliba, ball at his feet inside his own half. Down the right it goes to Ødegaard, stabs it forward to Saka. Saka turns neatly. Little back heel, gets the shout from Ben White. White in his red boots. Solomon back with him. Ball comes off Solomon. White gives chase, going right down to the corner flag. It's actually gone behind for an Arsenal corner. Just before Arsenal take that, I think we've got time for a quick visit to Murrayfield. Scotland-Ireland in the Six Nations. Sarah Orchard.
It is Scotland 0, Ireland 3. 13 minutes on the clock. Ireland spent a long time attacking inside of that Scottish 22. A few opportunities that they could have gone over. In the end, it was a penalty they came away with, but worth mentioning that Caelan Doris is off for Ireland. Also for Scotland, Richie Gray has also had to go off. It's Scotland 0, Ireland 3.
Commentary continues on Sports Extra. Same scoreline here. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Arsenal have a corner to the London Stadium shortly. Let's see what Saka will do with this. Runs up that slight incline, low skiddy one into the box. Martinelli hits the drive. Mitrovic was there to block it. Ødegaard controls the spinning ball, hits his own shot, deflected. Saka's going to chase that, must have come off an Arsenal player, keeps it in down by the byline. Does really well for Arsenal to keep that alive. Ødegaard with the trick. Robinson's not fooled. Robinson in the left back position, plays to Solomon. Solomon to Lukic. Lukic's clearance is intercepted by Zinchenko. Forward to Ødegaard. Little layoff here to Ben White. Cross comes in. Ream volleys it away. Ball runs into the path of Pereira. Pereira well challenged here by Trossard. Trossard plays it to Ben White, and White, I think, is going to come back into his own half. So let's hear from Henry Moran watching West Ham against Aston Villa.
Still West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1, but Said Benrahma again for West Ham, creating the opportunity all on his own, cutting it on that right foot. Shot tipped over the bar by Martinez. Atmosphere building, just a sense West Ham have the momentum here, 1-1.
Martinelli senses an opportunity, toss in. Just gets a really important touch on the ball there. It was a loose ball played into the Fulham box, and Martinelli came screaming in from the left, and Tosin was alert enough to know he was there, not foul him and get the ball. Ødegaard straight past to Trossard, down by the byline, inside the box, low cross, blocked at the near post. Flag was up for an offside, so that'll be a free kick to Fulham. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1, and team news from Newcastle Wolves on the way in just over 10 minutes time. Manchester City Leipzig, full commentary Tuesday night in the Champions League, with that tie starting at 1-1 here on 5 Live. Liverpool trying to pull off the almost impossible away to Real Madrid. Commentary on that one on Wednesday night. Real Madrid start with the 5-2 lead. The double header in the Europa League for us on Thursday. Real Betis against Manchester United at 5:45. Arsenal against Sporting at 8 as Mitrovic holds off Saliba. That's all your commentaries on the way on 5 Live. As deckled over, Reed very nearly in as he took the bounce in behind Zinchenko, but it was covered brilliantly by Gabriel, and he's cleared it with his left foot for Arsenal. No way through for Fulham just yet to try and get a sniff, try and get a foothold back in this game. Manchester United, Southampton, Lee Blakeman.
0-0, another chance for Southampton against the 10 men of Manchester United, though this time Sulemana played into the area left side, thought he had more time than he actually did, tried the step overs, and in that time Martinez got back. United able to clear just in the nick of time. 62 played, Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
Another promising Fulham attack comes to nothing. Tete's cross couldn't find Mitrovic, straight into the gloves of Ramsdale. If Southampton could get themselves in front, up against 10 men, starting the day bottom of the table, be a massive result for them. Trossard, was he caught there by Tosin? Tosin got ball and a little bit of ankle. Play continues. Arsenal have it just inside their half, and we've got less than half an hour to play here now. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Partey to Ødegaard curls one into the feet of Zinchenko, right in the middle of the Fulham half. Zinchenko, clever ball through the lines to Xhaka. Trossard, his pass hits Lukic, but it finds its way to Ben White on the right. Back to Partey, again the ball between the Fulham midfield and defence from Ødegaard. Finds Saka, Saka dribbling, he was stumbling forward. He doesn't want a penalty, he's never going to get a penalty anyway. He wasn't looking for that, it was off balance. Down he goes, and that will be a goal kick for Fulham. And they need to get on with things if they are thinking about trying to get something out of this game. Starting the day in 8th spot in the Premier League. Bernd Leno receives the ball from Ream, plays it back to Ream as Trossard closes in. Ream delays his ball up the left-hand touchline. Now it goes up towards Mitrovic. Clever little stooping chest layoff to Pereira, to Solomon. Nice football. Mitrovic, little drag back from him to beat Xhaka. Pass across the halfway line to Kenny Tete. Much more even contest in the second half. Still Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Now Reed looks up, wide on the right for Fulham. Crosses in with pace. White clears on the half volley. We've seen Gabriel Jesus warming up for Arsenal as one of their substitutes in this second half. Here's Pereira running at Ben White, past him, edge of the box, fancies the drive, gets underneath it over the bar into the Fulham fans in the Hammersmith end. Another shot off target. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3, but that would be a hugely welcome return to Premier League football for Gabriel Jesus, who has not featured since picking up that injury for Brazil at at the World Cup. 2 balls on the pitch. Aaron Ramsdale spotted that, kicks one of them off. He's about to take a goal kick. Lee Blakeman's watching Manchester United Southampton.
0-0. What a chance for Southampton, though. Their best of the game, and it came from a United corner. They caught them, Southampton, on the counter. Walcott through on goal. He ran nearly half the pitch but couldn't get the finish. Good save. De Gea flying to his right. Southampton have a corner. Still 0-0.
Yeah, sounds like the chances are coming for Southampton in that game at Old Trafford. Still West Ham 1, Villa 1. Here's Bobby Decordova-Reid to Lukic. Partey intercepts the pass forward. Turns away from Decordova-Reid. He tries to grab his shirt. Partey wriggles away from him and then just slows it down. Stands still. Plays to Ben White. White to Saliba inside the Arsenal half. Latest from Murrayfield. Sarah Orchard.
We've just had a try here at Murrayfield. Scotland 7, Ireland 3. A really well-worked try by Scotland, who battered away on the Irish line. It was Hugh Jones in the end that went over. Eventually, it was the Irish defence that faltered, and it's Scotland who are ahead. Scotland 7, Ireland 3, 18 minutes played.
Thank you, Sarah. Commentary continues. Radio 5 Sports Extra. Scotland ahead. Ireland with 3 wins out of 3 so far in the Championship. Zinchenko with the throw for Arsenal. They're all in black this afternoon. Change kit. And here's Saliba out wide to Saka. Saka is felled. No foul. Yes, it is a foul eventually. Assistant referee waves the flag. David Coote blows the whistle. Arsenal will get the free kick just inside the Fulham half. Fulham 3-0 down. Martinelli's in front of us on our side of the pitch, just in front of the Johnny Haynes stand in his bright green boots. He's got his arm in the air and he's saying, I'm all alone here if someone just wants to drill the perfect pass. I wonder if Saliba's thinking about that. Martinelli's lurking and he's shrugging and saying, come on, let's have a go at this. Here's Saliba. Yeah, he is going to have a go. Here we go. Quite a lot of height on that, which gives the Fulham defenders a chance to get underneath it. Tossing heads it away. Decordova-Reid chests it down. Zinchenko's there to cover it, and Decordova-Reid can't work that one wide on the touchline. It comes off his boots and goes out for a throw-in to Arsenal. Trossard, just the 3 defeats so far for Arsenal this season. Well, it's been a remarkable season for them. Manchester United at Old Trafford before Christmas. Defeat against Sean Dyche's Everton, and of course the big one against Manchester City. Return game against Manchester City. I mentioned it in the first half. Wednesday the 26th of April will be an absolute blockbuster. Arsenal still have to go to Liverpool in this title run-in. Chelsea still come to them. Brighton come to them as well. Here's Saka. Saka suddenly to Martinelli, who's on the right, finds Ødegaard. Arsenal players pouring forward. Xhaka's there. Lovely layout. Martinelli's shot brilliantly blocked. Tete slides in. That was heading for the far corner. Wonderful fizzing build-up play from Arsenal. That is them at their very best. They lead 3-0 and they've won themselves a corner. 25 minutes to play. Corner to come, quickly to Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
Southampton have just had another chance. It's 0-0 this time. Lavia, edge of the box, shot deflected over. Just a word on Casemiro, who was sent off, straight red in the first half as United come close here. Fernandes with the effort, and it's in! Oh, it's off the post! Oh my goodness, what a save! What a save for Bazunu. It looked like it was into the bottom corner. Bazunu with fingernails to tip it onto the post. United have a corner. Casemiro is second red of the season. He's got a 4-match ban coming up. 0-0.
Yeah, good point, Lee. Thank you. Still 0-0. Excitement there at Old Trafford. The Arsenal corner came to nothing. Pereira inside the Arsenal half. Can't find Manor Solomon. Neither manager yet to make a change. 21 minutes gone in the second half. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Partey. Cross to Ben White. Back to Saliba inside his own half. Forward to Zinchenko. Arsenal machine ticking over very nicely. Xhaka to Gabriel. And Fulham having to do the chasing at the moment. Scorelines haven't changed in the WSL in the last 15 minutes or so. Still Brighton 1, Manchester City 1. Liverpool leading Tottenham 2-1 in the 2 o'clock kickoff. Still goalless between Leicester and Everton, West Ham and Aston Villa in the 3 o'clock kickoffs. Gabriel up towards Trossard. Lovely first-time layoff to Xhaka inside his own half on the left. Zinchenko in central midfield. Gets it back from Ødegaard. Turns away from Harrison Reed. Looks up, strokes a pass to Ben White. Mikel Arteta applauds it. Back to Partey, forward to Ødegaard. Wide to Saka. Saka takes it on. Good tackle on Saka by Lukic. Won it cleanly and fairly. Then finds Pereira, motoring alongside him. Pereira driving forward, outside of his right foot, finds Decordova-Reid. Good save by Ramsdale, low to his right. Ball spins to Solomon. Back to Pereira, and that shot's blocked, and it spins up and high, and it's volleyed away by Trossard, but not before it crossed the dead ball line. That will be a corner to Fulham. That is the closest they come. That's a really good save from Aaron Ramsdale. Decordova-Reid played in behind. Fulham have the corner to come. Come on, Fulham again, rings around Craven Cottage. Pereira gets ready to take the corner for Fulham. Can they start any Arsenal nerves a-jangling? Arsenal leading by 3-0. Pereira's corner's an outswing. Good header. Oh, Mitrovic, it comes back off the bar this time. Saka volleys it away. More chances I hear at Old Trafford as well. Lee Blakeman.
Still 0-0. This time Southampton have hit the post. Quick corner. Walker-Peters, edge of the area. Fierce shot came crashing off the face of the post. What a game for a 0-0.
Thank you, Lee. So Mitrovic has hit the bar. Ramsdale has made the save from Decordova-Reid, and Arsenal could do the cruelest of all things, come down the other end and score here. Ben White down by the byline, plays it back to Saka. Saka's ball into the feet of Trossard, just moves out of the Fulham box. Ødegaard gets a lucky bounce, finds Trossard, scoop pass into the chest of Martinelli. So many bodies in there from both teams. Trossard half caught as he played the pass. Play continues. White's ball into the far post, beyond Tete. Xhaka will collect it, right down by the byline on the left. Just over 20 minutes to play. Commentary on Newcastle against Wolves to come here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this afternoon. And this is Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Are they going to get a goal at Old Trafford? And at the moment, still 1-1 between West Ham and Aston Villa at the London Stadium. Saliba across to White. A few olays from the Arsenal fans. Every pass that's completed at the moment. Saka looking for Trossard. Intercepted by Tosin. Here's Pereira. Pereira wide to Decordova-Reid. Decordova-Reid had to run backwards to collect the pass. He's looked good. Caused Arsenal some problems on the right in the second half. Changes are coming, though, for Arsenal shortly. I can see Kieran Tierney is one of those getting ready to come on. He missed the trip to Sporting in midweek with illness like Ødegaard. Decordova-Reid caught with the ball inside the Arsenal half. Ødegaard turns, looks for the run of Martinelli, might run to Saka. That's a strong challenge on Saka. Tossing in. I think he got a foot on the ball. He did actually, because the free kick has gone to Fulham. The two of them going for the same ball, arrived at pretty much the same time, and Saka now is going to get a rest, and a much needed rest as well. His number has gone up for Arsenal, and Reece Nelson, who's got this remarkable record so far in the Premier League this season of having played less than 90 minutes and has managed 3 goals and 2 assists, and of course that incredible winner last weekend against Bournemouth. So Reece Nelson, who started against Sporting in the week, comes on for Bukayo Saka. Arsenal, you think, have got this game won. They've got the return leg against Sporting to come. They've got a Premier League game against Crystal Palace next weekend, so no surprise that Saka gets a rest, and Alexander Zinchenko as well. Yeah, that's the obvious change too. So Tierney on for Zinchenko, Reece Nelson on for Saka. West Ham against Villa being watched by Henry Moran.
Still 1-1 here. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. It's all quietened down in this second half. It's not been nearly as entertaining as we saw in the first 45 minutes. Ben Rama has looked the most likely to score the 3rd goal of this match. But as things stand, with 20 minutes remaining, West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Let's get back to Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
It's raining shots from Southampton. Walcott's just put one over the bar. Walker-Peters has gone close again. United are making a double change. Pellistri and Garnacho are coming on. Sancho going off along with Anthony. 0-0.
Sounds like some game, that one, for a 0-0. Decordova-Reid's been caught offside. Free kick for Arsenal inside their own half. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. If you are just tuning in, 3 goals in the first half for Arsenal. 1 disallowed as well, actually, the first one. An offside by Martinelli. That would have been a Robinson own goal, but Gabriel's header, Martinelli's header, and Ødegaard's thumping left-footed finish, his 10th of the season, to make it 3-0. Newcastle Wolves star commentary from 4:30. John Murray, our correspondent, has the team news for you.
Well, changes have been rung here by Eddie Howe after their 3 defeats in a row. 5 changes for Newcastle. Shares fit to come in at the back for Lascelles. Willock returns to the midfield for the suspended Joe Linton, and he's completely changed his front line. Murphy, Isak and St Maximin start, with Wilson, Almiron on the bench, and Gordon not involved at all. Wolves do the same, completely different front line. Adama Traore, Jimenez and Podence there for front 3, with Moutinho coming into the midfield to start today.
Thank you, John. So Jimenez, the Wolves centre forward, the man who's got to try and break the curse this afternoon. Lots of changes for Newcastle as well. John Murray and Pat Nevin with your commentary from 4:30. High ball into the edge of the Fulham penalty area. Tete heads it away. Nodded back by Nelson. Nelson wants it now from Ødegaard. Nelson with his back to the Fulham goal, running away. Tackled by Manor Solomon, back from his wide left position to do the defensive duties. Lovely ball forward to Pereira, opening up for Fulham here. Ødegaard might have to make the foul he feels for Arsenal. He's sort of dragging and he's clawing and he's going to get the yellow card. He has to. Pereira tried to keep going, but Ødegaard did what he meant to do. He just stopped the momentum of the breakaway, and he picks up the first yellow card of the game, I think. Fulham about to make a double change themselves. Daniel James and Harry Wilson, 2 Welsh internationals, will come on for them. If you're an Arsenal fan, by the way, Cammy and Ben's latest proper football podcast features Cesc Fabregas, which will be worth a listen. One of those available on the BBC Sounds app for you. Free kick Fulham here. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Just over 15 minutes to play. Pereira jogging on the spot, runs towards the ball, floats the free kick into the far post, tossing heads at the cross goal, palmed away by Ramsdale. Comes to Tete, hits it well, but over the bar on the volley. Arsenal player down on the edge of the penalty area. It's Trossard. Trossard is down. Andreas Pereira's coming off for Fulham. Big FA Cup quarter-final for them next weekend. He's a crucial player, so he will be replaced by Daniel James, and Harry Wilson is going to come on for Manor Solomon. So the goal-scoring run comes to an end for the Israeli international. Today was trying to become the first Fulham player to score in 5 consecutive games in the Premier League. 3 points for correct answers on the 3 players like him. 3 other players who managed 4 in a row: Steve Malbronk, Dimitar Berbatov and Alexander Mitrovic. I know you knew them, but there you go. London Stadium, West Ham Villa, Henry Moran.
West Ham 1, Villa 1. We've just had a VAR check for a penalty against Declan Rice. A challenge on Emiliano Buendia. After that, a huge scrap inside the penalty area. Both sides coming together, arguments aplenty. Still down is Buendia. No penalty, but decision for referee Chris Kavanagh as to whether there'll be any action for the scrap. Most entertainment we've had in this half, to be honest. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Throwing for Arsenal on the right. We're about to see Gabriel Jesus right now make his return to first team action for Arsenal, and if you're talking about big moments in the title race, this really could be one. Eddie Nketiah still out. Gabriel Jesus, who hasn't featured since the World Cup, such an important signing for them from Manchester City in the summer, is back, and that could be absolutely vital. And the Arsenal fans are on their feet and singing and applauding, and Leandro Trossard, who was down a moment ago having taken the knock, is coming off. So Gabriel Jesus back into the action for Arsenal. Let's get the latest on Scotland, Ireland in the Six Nations. Sarah Orchard.
It's Scotland 7, Ireland 8. Ireland back on top at Murrayfield. The try came from Mac Hansen, who was hanging out wide. He got a huge clattering in the end by Scotland's Duhan van der Merwe. He was actually van der Merwe who came out of it the worst of the 2, but Hansen gets his try, a brilliant finish, and it's Scotland 7, Ireland 8, 29 minutes played.
What a player to have back for Arsenal. Fabio Vieira has come on in a double change there. Martinelli, the latest Arsenal player to get a rest. So Vieira on, Gabriel Jesus on. Jesus, who funnily enough hasn't scored in his last 11 appearances for Arsenal. Last goal in the North London derby back on the 1st of October. Here he is getting his first touch of the game. Thrown in from White. Jesus volleys it back to White. They work it through Ødegaard back into midfield to Partey. 13 minutes to play, and Arsenal have done the job it seems, quite comfortably this afternoon. Manchester City, of course, put the pressure on with their win at Crystal Palace last night. Arsenal have responded. They are going 5 points clear again at the top of the table with 11 games left to play for both teams. Next for Arsenal in the Premier League next weekend at home against Crystal Palace. Then it's the international break. Then Leeds come to them. Then they go to Anfield. Then they go to West Ham. And that Manchester City date at the Etihad, Wednesday, 26th of April. Jesus on the ball in the centre circle. Every touch roared to the rooftops by the Arsenal fans. Jesus makes a run through the middle. Holds his head high in frustration as the pass doesn't come. Has to get back onside. Here's Ødegaard, uses Jesus. Little 1-2. Every touch is going to feel fabulous to him. And Kieran Tierney involved as well. Wide it goes to Reece Nelson. So Mikel Arteta's rung the changes. And Arsenal are just going to try and see this game through. And here's Gabriel on the ball inside the Fulham half. A quiet Craven Cottage right now, apart from the Arsenal sing-song away to the left. White's ball down the right. Vieira was caught in the face there as Anthony Robinson made the challenge. Accidental, but you could see it from here. He's okay. Ball's gone out for a throw. Mick Jagger's got a smile on his face, I can see. He's enjoyed his afternoon watching the football with us here at Craven Cottage. Sunderland 1-0 winners at Norwich in the Championship. Rangers through to the Scottish Cup semi-finals along with Celtic and Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Chelsea's women on top of the WSL, having beaten Manchester United by a goal to nil in the 12:30 kickoff. And Aston Villa, I see, have scored in the WSL. 3 o'clock kickoff, that one. They are 1-0 up away to West Ham. The two men's teams, of course, playing each other at the London Stadium. That's 1-1. Here's Jesus, took it off the toe of Tete. Jesus, 25 yards out, clever ball. Reece Nelson is in, back onto his right foot. I'm surprised he didn't hit it with his left. Angle was tight, but it was open for him to just go with power there with the left foot. Here's Ødegaard, back to goal on the edge of the box. Challenge from Lukic, foul by Lukic, free kick for Arsenal. May just be close enough to try and hit a pile driver from that sort of range. Newcastle against Wolves on the way. Takahiro Tomiyasu getting ready to come on here, and it's the obvious change you'd expect. Ben White is coming off to be replaced by Tomiyasu with just over 10 minutes to play. That is the 5 changes all done. Arsenal have made their 5. Ben White is off. Tomiyasu is coming on. They exchange a little high five, and we wait for the Arsenal free kick to be taken. Reece Nelson is there. Martin Ødegaard is there. Ødegaard's just got to tie up the shoelaces before he takes it. And the ball is now being played towards him. David Cooke, the referee, just side foots it back to Ødegaard. So 30 yards out, fairly central. And Bernd Leno's decided, don't really need a wall for this. If someone's going to try and beat me from there, I'd rather we just go mano a mano. Reece Nelson, of course, with that dramatic late winner last week. Hands on hips. Could be him with the right foot. I think it's going to be. Jogging on the spot. Low one. Skiddy one. Hits the back of Thomas Partey's legs. And that was very unlike the finish of last week with his left foot. It bobbles behind and goes out for a goal kick to Fulham. 10 minutes remaining. 5 live in BBC Sounds. Fulham 0. Arsenal 3 as the drama continuing at Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. This has been one of the best 0-0s I have seen in a long time. We've got a lengthy stoppage here though, because Garnacho, who's not been on too long, has gone down. United getting ready to bring on Fred. Southampton have just made a double change. Adam Armstrong and Sekou Mara have come on for Shea Adams and Suleimana. We have got 8 to play plus stoppage time. Which way is it going to go? 0-0 Manchester United and Southampton.
Thank you, Lee. Mitrovic down at the moment for Fulham here, caught in the centre circle, seems to be holding his left knee. Obvious concern for Fulham as the main man. Not scored in the last 8 games for them, not scored here at Craven Cottage since October, but they need him fit and firing to continue what's been a hugely encouraging season so far, particularly when you think the last 5 seasons have been so up and down, quite literally. Promoted 2018, relegated 2019, promoted 2020, relegated 2021, promoted 2022. I think that run might be coming to a halt this season. Partey clears with his right foot for Arsenal into the last 10 minutes of the game. Harrison Reed plays across the halfway line to Robinson. Robinson looking for the ball away down the left to Dan James, the speedster, who's now in that position where Solomon was from the start of this game. Going to be a throw-in for Fulham. Arsenal in no hurry to give the ball back to them. Now they do. Throw into Ream. Ream across to Tosin. Marco Silva throwing his arms out in frustration, sitting down in the Fulham dugout. He's actually beaten Arsenal as a manager at Olympiacos, Watford and Everton. Didn't manage it with Hull, but has not managed it with Fulham so far. They lost 2-1 at the Emirates in August, and they're losing 3-0 at home today. Tete challenged by Reece Nelson. Goes out for a throw into Fulham in the attacking position, wide on the right. 8 minutes to play plus added time here at Craven Cottage. Wilson back to Tosin, across to Ream. Ream lets that ball run across him. Bobbly pass towards Mitrovic, offside as he holds off Saliba, and he almost dummies to kick the ball away in frustration, then decides better against it, not wishing to pick up a yellow card. So that will be a free kick for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta can't rest on the sidelines, but I'm sure he's a very happy man with the way it's worked this afternoon. Heart rate certainly down. Arsenal in total control pretty much from the word go. Fulham have had a bit of a go at them in the second half. Ramsdale made the good save from Cordova-Reid. Mitrovic's header came back off the bar, but you've always felt that Arsenal have had plenty in reserve this afternoon to continue an excellent Premier League record against Fulham. Ream heads it away from Jesus. Xhaka side foots a little pass to Kieran Tierney. 10 yards inside the Fulham half. Tierney plays to Xhaka. Xhaka back heels to himself, wide to Tierney. Tierney plays back into his own half to Gabriel. Gabriel across to Saliba. Saliba comes trotting forward. Cross here to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu's ball wide to the right to Fabio Vieira. Back to Tomiyasu again. Inside his own half, Harrison Reed comes shuttling forward to put Xhaka under pressure, but Xhaka's just able to play back to Saliba. Walking pace for Arsenal at the moment. Minutes running away. Ball down the line from Partey. What a flick from Gabriel Jesus to find Fabio Vieira. Chance for a fourth here. Jesus on his outside. Plays it to Jesus. Oh, it's not a goal scoring return because Leno makes the block. And there, possibly evidence of very slight rustiness from Jesus, because the touch to set it up and the speed of the run to get into position was perfect, and he just scuffed the finish when he was clean through on goal and saw the whites of the goalkeeper's eyes. Nice from Vieira actually not to go selfish, to play it in. Leno, good save actually with his right leg, because Jesus did the right thing, went for the far corner across the goalkeeper, and Leno let that leg drag and made the save with his right boot. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Still goalless between Manchester United and Southampton. It'll be a big point for Southampton, that. Wonder whether they might be able to steal a winner. Casemiro sent off in the first half. West Ham 1, Villa 1. Corner for Arsenal, in it comes. Tosin all alone, leaps high and heads away. Fabio Vieira is there, controls the ball on the half volley. Midway inside the Fulham half to the London Stadium. Henry Moran.
Into the final 7 minutes of the 90. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. Two big chances for West Ham the last couple of moments. Fornals with the ball slightly behind him, chips the ball over the bar. And then Ben Rama, when it looked like he was going to smash home, has his shot deflected wide. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Tomiyasu clearance block, throwing for Arsenal in their right back position. Closing stages at Old Trafford. Lee Blakeman.
Still 0-0 Manchester United and Southampton. The 11 of the Saints dominating possession, but United on the counter look threatening every time they go forward. Rashford and Fernandes both hungry, but with 3 minutes to go, it's 0-0.
Throw in for Arsenal. Flick on from Jesus. Can't find Vieira. Tosin clears on the half volley. The ball just hits Mitrovic. Falls into the path of Cordova-Reid, who's now wide on the left. Harry Wilson's waiting in the middle. Cordova-Reid does well to get the cross in. Reid just cushions it down. Wilson over the bar. Nice hit. Ramsdale had it covered. Would have been straight at him. And behind it goes. It doesn't look like it's going to be Fulham's afternoon. So if you are a potential Arsenal owner in your fantasy football, I think you may well be pretty happy with what's gone on this afternoon. Latest Fantasy 606 podcast, one of those available for you on the BBC Sounds app. If you are a fan of your fantasy football, we're actually recording the next one tomorrow, and we've got a couple of guests coming on who do a pod. They're based over in the States, a couple of American guys called Brandon and Josh, who do a podcast called Always Cheating. They're going to be good fun. Looking forward to having them on the pod, and that latest pod will be available for you on Thursday via the BBC Sounds app. Commentary continues of Scotland-Ireland over on Sports Extra in the Six Nations. This is Fulham-Arsenal. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. And here's Reece Nelson. Gets away from Tosin. Gets his cross in. Oh, sweet hit from Ødegaard over the bar. hit it on the half volley. Difficult one to keep down, couldn't quite do it. Very similar to Harry Wilson at the other end, similar effort, went at pace, but didn't find the back of the net. So no goals in this second half. All three came in the first half, and a few Fulham fans, I think, in front of us have decided that is that for the afternoon. Not going to get the win against Arsenal, and they are on their way home. Bernd Leno takes the goal kick with his right foot, sends it sailing deep into the Arsenal half. Mitrovic chests it down, tackled by Saliba, who's followed him everywhere, dealt with him well. Decordeva Reed throws it back to Robinson, Robinson to Ream. Ream plays back here to Leno. Arsenal fans start up another song. They're going to be delighted at the look of that Premier League table this evening. 5 points clear of Manchester City, 11 games to go. Arsenal having not won the title since Arsene Wenger's team did it back in 2004, and of course have gone 6 seasons without Champions League football as well, which is another matter for the club. Here's Gabriel inside his own half, just crosses the halfway line, plays it to Partey. Partey to Gabriel. Tierney's in acres of space here on the left, and it goes via Xhaka to Tierney. Difficult one to control. Does well. Knocks it past Tete, gets the cross in, Tosin's there, heads it behind for an Arsenal corner. Arsenal closing this game out very comfortably indeed. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0, West Ham 1, Villa 1. Closing stages of those 2 games. Newcastle against Wolves on the way. Full commentary here on 5 Live this afternoon at 4:30. 5 changes made by Eddie Howe. Completely different front line for Newcastle this afternoon. Corner then for Arsenal. Craven Cottage falls silent. 2 Arsenal players waiting on the edge of the box. Lofted in high, headed away. Here's one of them. Vieira volleys it sweetly. That's blocked. Cleared away by Dan James. Saliba's there. Vieira lets it run past him to Partey. He makes the run on the outside. Partey corner of the box. Crosses the diagonal. Falls to Nelson at the far post. Nelson, little stab back into the box. Right across the line of the 6-yard box, and Tete is there first for Fulham to clear. Dan James fouled as he tried to play a ball upfield for Fulham. Whistle blows, free kick, 90th minute of the game. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Fulham take the free kick from the wrong place, so they're going to have to go again. So we'll wrap up the other 2 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League for you here on 5 Live after the whistle blows here. We'll then take you to the rugby for a while. Scotland, Ireland in the Six Nations, and then, as I say, 4:30, we will be with John Murray and Pat Nevin at St James's Park for Newcastle against Wolves. Old Trafford again, Lee Blakeman.
We're into the second of 4 additional minutes. Still Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. United have just made a double change. Fred and Maguire on for Garnacho and Martinez. Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
3 minutes of added time had just begun here at Craven Cottage. Arsenal leading Fulham by 3-0. Henry Moran, what's happening at the London Stadium?
Still a minute and a half to go of the 90. We'll find out how much added time in a moment. Still West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. Opportunity for John Duran, the 19-year-old Colombian. Low shot blocked behind for a corner. Is there time for a grandstand finish? West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1.
Closing stages here at Craven Cottage. Couple of minutes to go. No doubt about the result. No doubt that Arsenal are going back 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, and the encouraging side of Gabriel Jesus back in action for them as well. Anthony Robinson stretches to control a ball, lobs it into the Arsenal box. Mitrovic's knockdown falls for Dan James. His cross is blocked, and behind it goes for the Fulham corner. You know Mikel Arteta will want that clean sheet. He will definitely not want Arsenal to concede here. More defending to do late on in this game. Mikel Arteta is going to get that 100th win as the Arsenal manager from 168 games. What a story it will be if he takes them to the title this season. Corner comes in, headed away by Nelson. Mitrovic on the volley, blocked by Partey. Run out by Jesus. Here he is on the left. Jesus gets it from Nelson, drills it forward, looking for Vieira. Headed away by James. Robinson's there for Fulham, nods it down to Tosin inside his own half. Tierney snuck up behind him and wins it for Arsenal. Xhaka here across to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu finds Vieira wide on the right. Vieira plays back to Tomiyasu again, and we have got less than a minute to play here at Craven Cottage. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3. Ødegaard across to Gabriel. The Arsenal fans are going to sing it out with the Olays for every single pass. It was Gabriel who opened the scoring with his header, Martinelli with the second, Ødegaard with the third. Tomiyasu's there to make a tackle in the right back position for Arsenal, goes out for a throw into Fulham, and for them it is going to be a fourth home defeat of the season. Fulham fans have not had to see that too often. Harrison Reed's gone down, stayed down. Gabriel Jesus has the ball for Arsenal. Can they find a fourth in the very last minute of the game? They fancy it. Ødegaard through the middle to Xhaka. Oh, Xhaka to Vieira. Vieira tripped, or was he? He just tripped over his own feet there. Vieira, down he goes. I know he's given a free kick. Fulham players can't believe it. We'll have to have a look at the replay monitor here. We've now played the minimum amount of 3 minutes added. He tripped over his own feet. He was absolutely nowhere near tossing. He's tripped over his own feet, and the referee's given a free kick, and VAR cannot do anything about that. And Mikel Arteta, with a right grin on his face, is wagging a finger. I think if Arsenal do the right thing here, they should just knock the ball out for a throw-in and finish the game, almost like kicking into touch in rugby. I mean, that is the most ludicrous award of a free kick I've seen so far this season. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3, but Arsenal will have the free kick. They will take it. This will be the last action of the game, and it really would rub salt into the wounds for Fulham if this ends up in the back of their net. Ødegaard, who's played the full game here, but of course didn't play against Sporting on Thursday night, having missed that game with illness, scored the third today. Both arms in the air. Arsenal players in the black shirts start to make the runs. The ball comes in, headed away to the edge of the box, volleyed up in the air by Dan James. David Coote about to blow the full-time whistle. There we go, all over at Craven Cottage, and a very comfortable win for the Premier League leaders. 3 goals in the first half. Gabriel, the centre-back, headed in. Gabriel Martinelli headed in from close range himself. Martin Ødegaard with the third. Fulham gave it a little bit more of a go in the second half, but Arsenal never really threatened. One good save from Aaron Ramsdale and an Alexander Mitrovic header that came crashing back off the bar. So if we look at our Premier League table as it stands with the Arsenal win, 11 games to go for each of the title challengers. Arsenal on 66 points, Manchester City on 61 points. Next Premier League action for Arsenal is at home to Crystal Palace next weekend, but before that we'll be commentating on them on Thursday night for the second leg of their Europa League game against Sporting, which will start at 2-2. So players milling around on the pitch here at Craven Cottage, shaking hands. Fulham players congratulating Arsenal. Arsenal fans in full voice, all of them away to our left in that Putney end, clapping with the hands above their head. They really believe it's on this season, and it really is on as well. 5 points clear at the top of the table. What a response to the Manchester City win yesterday. Did we ever find a goal at Old Trafford in the end? Here's Lee Blakeman.
We didn't, Ali. I'm not quite sure how, though. It's ended Manchester United 0, Southampton 0. A really lively game for a 0-0. United played more than half of it with 10 men after Casemiro was sent off in the 33rd minute. Now, what happened? He took the ball, but the follow-through was high. Stood showing. It was initially a yellow card, which Anthony Taylor showed to him, but he was called to the monitor and changed it to a red afterwards. Casemiro in tears as he left the pitch for that foul in the 33rd minute on Alcaraz. Really, really lively game. Both teams hit the post in the second half. Fernandes did so for United. Brilliant fingertip save by Bazunu to tip it onto the post. We thought it was in, and we were right behind it here. Walker-Peters just after that. Great strike, edge of the box for Southampton. That came crashing back off the post as well. Lively game. A note on Casemiro. He now misses 4 games as it's his second red card of the season. Boos for the officials at the final whistle here. It's ended Manchester United 0, Southampton 0.
Tears for one Brazilian at Old Trafford, but huge smiles for the other one, Gabriel Jesus here. That the other point to make about this game. Back into action for Arsenal, and he's the last man to leave the field. Got a huge hug from his manager Mikel Arteta. So good to see him back. I know Arsenal fans would definitely agree. Fulham 0, Arsenal 3, then it's finished at Craven Cottage. What about at the London Stadium, Henry Moran?
Deep into 6 minutes of added time. West Ham United 1, Aston Villa 1. Early goal from Ollie Watkins, cancelled out by a penalty from Said Benrahma prior to the half-time whistle. This second half hasn't quite lived up to all the excitement and drama we had in the first. Straight ball over the top is cleared away by